And now for the most famous words in motorsport. And now for the most famous words in motorsports, Beth Byron Reisner, Director of Marketing from Tropicana.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
The fans began arriving before dawn. Their long wait for action is over. The green flag for the Tropicana 400 is next.
And not a lot of practice with those two blown engines. There we see Bill Elliott, Sterling Marlin in row 2.
A couple of Dodge boys there. Last week's winner, Michael Waltrip, shares row number 3 with Tony Stewart. The 77 car, Robert Presley drove that to a second place finish last year. Dave Blaney's on board that car this year. He's in the 4th row with Rusty Wallace.
And there we see Junior, who was the fastest car in that final practice yesterday afternoon. You walk through the garage area, they said the 8 car is going to be very, very good today.
Dale Jarrett finished 4th in this race last year. He and Bobby Labonte in the 6th row. Row number 7, Mark Martin, 2nd in the championship. Said he has no concerns that his engine will suffer a similar problem to what Kurt Busch's did in practice yesterday.
And all those engines from Jack Roush Racing exactly the same, according to Jack Roush. There we see Jeff Gordon, my pick to win, on the inside of row 8 alongside Matt Kenseth, the Golden Benny Award winner.
There you go. Mike Skinner had a terrible crash in this race a year ago. He's in row 9 with Jeff Burton. Skinner hoping obviously for a much better day. Jeremy Mayfield, new crew chief setup this week. We'll talk more about that as the race goes on for Ray Evernham's team.
Robbie Gordon won at Loudon last fall, a racetrack you would think would be similar to Chicagoland.
Brett Bodine, after that fiery crash at Daytona last Saturday, says he's feeling good and ready to go from row 12 with Terry Labonte. Stuart Kirby, 21-year-old youngster from Owensboro, Kentucky, or from Bowling Green, Kentucky, kind of a protege of Jeremy Mayfield's. 2nd Winston Cup start here.
Kenny Wallace in his 2nd NASCAR Winston Cup race in the 98 car this year.
There's John Andretti and Richard Petty's Dodge. Daytona 500 winner Ward Burton and Kevin Harvick, the defending winner of this race, are way back in row 16. That car Jerry Nadeau is driving, that's owned by Michael Waltrip. That's the same team that fields his Busch Series machine. Nadeau in that ride here. He'll substitute for Johnny Benson next weekend in New Hampshire. And speaking of subbing for Johnny Benson,
this week it's Mike Wallace on the outside of row 18 in the Valvoline Pontiac. And there we see, going back to provisional land, Jimmy Johnson.
3rd in points, got a long way to go today. Jimmy Spencer, Animal the Muppet, on the hood of the Target car this week. And the final starters in the field, Casey Atwood, Steve Grissom, and Stacy Compton driving for A.J. Foyt. 4 drivers failed to qualify for the race. Wimmer, Hornaday, Shelmerdine, Rains, not in today's Tropicana 400. Let's get some final stories from pit road, starting with Matt Yoakum.
Alan, one storyline we will follow today is the importance of track position. A number of drivers and crew chiefs watched Jeff Burton's experiment with 4 tires in Saturday's Busch event in the late stages. Sterling Marlin told me he felt like Burton's gain in fresh tires wasn't worth the loss in track position. So watch for a big debate later today about the possibility of 2 versus 4 or even no tires. To Dave Burns.
Matt, Ricky Rudd's car has over 750 horsepower underneath the hood, but his team had to push it off the qualifying line, and then it bottomed out during his qualifying laps. He starts 38th. If Rudd wins today, he's going to have to pass a lot of cars. To Marty Snyder.
Well, Dave, the boys in the booth mentioned the Kurt Busch problems yesterday. Let's take a moment to expand upon that. He lost 2 engines, and they were trying a new engine combination, but the motor under the hood today is a very good one and is proven. It took him to victory lane at Bristol, and the car, there's no concerns there because this is the car that led the most laps and finished 2nd at California. To Bill Weber.
Marty, right now an early scare for Rusty Wallace. After the car is rolled off of pit road, there was an oil spot underneath where Rusty's car was parked. He's been on the radio with crew chief Billy Wilbur. NASCAR officials have been over to talk to the team. Originally, Rusty was concerned. At this point, it doesn't appear that that came from his car, but they are watching it very closely.
All right, Bill, thanks. Also, Dave Blaney's car made a pit stop on its roll-off, so he's got to go to the back of the field for the start. Tough for the 77 team. They're going to give up 7th starting spot to the back. You can check out where your favorite driver is pitted in today's race by logging on to NBCSports.com. We've got a pit map for today's Winston Cup event, plus you can email BP your NASCAR questions and check out his latest mailbag, which includes a look at Jeff Gordon's winless streak. NBCSports.com. Giving up 7th spot to make a pit stop on the roll-off. Boy, that's tough luck for Dave.
That is so doggone tough. And a team that really needs a good run would be the 77 car. Blaney not starting off too well.
Car wouldn't crank. That's why they had to get assistance from the crew. So he goes to the back. Mike Skinner and Stuart Kirby, along with Kurt Busch, also to the back after engine changes. Boy, it's nice out.
It is beautiful, 84 degrees, but look at that track temperature, 133 degrees. No wind, sunny, not a cloud to be seen. Beautiful day in Chicagoland.
And further information on Dave Blaney from our guys down on pit road, a carburetor problem.
It just keeps getting worse. Quit talking about him, Alan.
Okay. I talked to him this morning. Now I'm talking about him, and it's not too good. We'll hope the day goes much better for Dave. 267 laps to make the 400-mile distance today.
And we see the pit window, 57, 60 laps. 90 miles, these cars will be in for fuel. If you can go 100, man, and this thing should go green, you'd be in good shape.
75,000 on their feet for the green flag. The Tropicana 400 is underway. Ryan Newman breaks from the pole for the lead.
And BP, like yesterday, we've seen a fight to the bottom. It's kind of like Dover. Everybody wants, although there's 2 crews here, everybody wants to get in that bottom lane as fast as they can.
But you can see cars 2, 3 wide off turn 4.
Well, I didn't say it was going to be easy getting down there, but they're trying.
BP got some more bad news for the 77.
He passed on before the green flag.
Yes, he did.
No.
He's going to get the black flag for a stop and go penalty.
Hopefully he won't speed in the pits now.
Yeah, that'll only make it worse, won't it? Mark Martin, 10th place, fighting there, losing some spots. Todd Bodine is through. Robbie Gordon is through. Here comes Elliott Sadler in the 21.
And Joe Nemechek, the 25 car, is taking a look on the inside of Mark Martin.
Jeff Gordon's car wiggled there in that outside lane, doing it one.
And I'll guarantee you, Jeff is telling the spotter, get me down, but there's just no place to go right now.
He started 15th, but he's losing spots every corner as John Andretti, the 43 car, goes by on the inside.
Bill Weber.
Well, Dave Blaney headed for pit road. Now we got trouble on the front stretch. The 22 around in traffic.
Ward Burton sitting sideways right across the tri-oval by the start-finish line, but everybody gets by. Caution flag is out.
And how did they miss him? And you know, Dave Blaney might get a break, and he just might. Come on, speed, Dave. Speed. Let's see if he's going to be stopped.
Question is...
Oh, he made it.
Got the go. Go ahead, Ryan Newman. And that Jasper team that Blaney drives for, they get their engines. They're all in on that engine operation. So maybe there's a little teamwork there with Newman backing off to let Blaney get going.
Just looking at the 22's got a flat. Looks like maybe he's got a flat right rear tire.
Left front tire's flat. Well, I guess all of them are flat after that spin.
Yeah, after the spin.
So we only got a couple laps in before the caution flag came out. 4 to be specific. Under yellow in the Tropicana 400.
There we see Ward Burton coming down pit road once again to make some adjustments to the Cat car.
And we take a look at what happened to bring out the yellow and put Ward crossways on the racetrack.
Really hard to tell.
Hard to tell if it was contact, what might have caused it. There probably was. On board with Jimmy Spencer. And all of a sudden Spencer sees a lot of smoke and a spinning car in front of him.
Now, there is some damage there on the front of the 22, which definitely is not going to help his day. Also, it looked like Jeff Green's car was damaged in that as well. Looked like the left rear of his car has some damage. Aerodynamics real important here, Benny, especially what they're working on, that left front fender.
Yes, left front fender is so critical to all these racetracks. We see the NASCAR officials giving all the crew signal. 1 lap to go. The cars come by this time. Next time by, they'll go green flag. So they're trying to get some tape, something over that gap in that left front fender to help the downforce.
I think they need more than tape, don't you? Get the rivet gun out.
Here's our Circuit City track facts. Chicagoland Speedway now in its 2nd season of operation. 75,000 grandstand seats. You know, the grandstand is longer than if you laid the John Hancock building in downtown Chicago end to end twice.
You're just full of that useless information, aren't you?
Yeah, that's for sure.
Just read it in the track press guide, okay? Every one of those 75,000 seats full today for the Tropicana 400. Second, 1 lap to go for the restart.
A lot of cars in the back did stop, make pit stops, getting that fuel, because now, who knows, some of those guys might try to make it on a less stop.
Monday night at 9/8 Central, catch NBC's new summer hit, Dog Eat Dog. Watch Dog Eat Dog Monday nights at 9/8 Central on NBC.
You know, one thing we want to keep an eye on, BP, I was talking to Newt Moore, the crew chief on Kenny Schrader's car, and you know, the tires here, some of the tires they're using here are from last year. So some of the sets they're using are new and some are old, and they found some inconsistency in their tires yesterday. So that's one thing we should watch. A lot of these cars pitting early, they may not have liked what they had there on their car. Here's Kenny. They said their car was really, really good. They went out to make one more run. They put 4 sticker tires on it, and the car was junk.
That's not a good position to be in.
Now, sticker tire being a brand new tire, fresh out of the Goodyear truck that still has the new sticker on it.
Thank you, Alan. Well, I know.
Someone's got to explain these things,
took it
Walt.
for granted.
That's right. Green flag. Ward Burton had pulled up to the inside of leader Ryan Newman, but he has to go to the tail end of the line for this restart because he came down pit road before it was open. Second place here. Here comes Sterling Marlin.
40 car Sterling Marlin on the inside of Bill Elliott in 9.
And this is really a bad time to be up in that upper lane right now because everybody is nose to tail. So Bill Elliott, well, he got lucky. He squeezed in there.
Down in front of Tony Stewart in line. Right behind Stewart, Dale Earnhardt Jr., then Rusty Wallace, Dale Jarrett, Michael Waltrip, Todd Bodine, and Bobby Labonte. Those are your top 10 early.
Bill Elliott's going to come right back on Sterling. Sterling slipped up the racetrack a little bit. Bill dove down underneath him. Now Sterling may lose a couple of positions. Oh, he's trying to come. He's trying.
Was not successful.
See, Tony didn't let him in.
Tony believe that. Junior goes by.
And Rusty Wallace through 2. So Sterling Marlin shuffled quickly back to 6th place from 2nd.
On board with Tony Stewart, looking out the back bumper at Dale Earnhardt Jr.
You know, it's so early in the race, there's no need, especially with the championship lead, there's no need for Sterling to press that issue.
Let's check out the miles per hour down the front straightaway. It's going to be a little bit faster down the front. Down the back, 187, 8, 9, 190, what? 194 miles per hour.
About 8,800 plus RPMs going into turn 1 there.
Notice the back straight is not straight here at Chicagoland. Kind of a continuing arc all the way around. One of the unique features about this speedway compared to most other tracks on the circuit.
And he was almost as fast down the back straightaway, 193 miles per hour. See, as you watch the RPMs, that's what has the engine builders just sweating today because of the RPM. They see so many RPMs down the front straightaway, but watch as it goes down. It only goes down to 7,400. That's the minimum, 74 to 9,000. So if you average that out, the thing's going to be turning about 8,500, 8,400 all day long for 400 miles, and that really concerns engine builders.
That's a lot of work on an engine.
Big news for this 20 team this morning, and Bobby Labonte, his teammate, Joe Gibbs Racing, going to switch to Chevrolets for next year from these Pontiacs. In fact, that may happen as soon as a couple of weeks from now. They're taking to an Indianapolis Motor Speedway test tomorrow and Tuesday for the Brickyard 400. 2 Chevrolets and 2 Pontiacs for each team. They're going to test them both and decide which one they want to run at Indy.
Boy, that's a big load of Pontiac. That's their team.
Pontiac's reaction to that in the press conference they held here this morning was that they were talking to several teams about switching to Pontiac for next year, had been approached by several teams. They would be here, and they felt confident that they'd have a very strong lineup for the excitement break. There's Bobby Labonte. And Bobby running right now back in 12th spot. He's lost 2 positions in the last couple of laps to Elliott Sadler and Joe Nemechek. Ryan Newman out in front early in the Tropicana 400 at Chicagoland.
Welcome back to the Chicagoland Speedway. We are under caution after 17 laps for debris on the track. The drive shaft from Ward Burton's car lying near the entrance to pit road. Right now here on pit road, a scramble. Some teams thinking about pitting, some are going to stay out. We'll have to see what happens down here. Meanwhile, let's go up to the booth and find out what happened out there.
All right, Bill, let's go inside our Roush Team Caliber 360 car.
Hang on, BP, let's cover these pit stops first.
Good.
A lot more guys pitting than we thought were going to happen on these pit stops. Dave Burns?
Well, Matt Kenseth there's one car that decided to stay out. Jimmy Spencer's going to stay back here and change 4 tires and head back out in the Target Dodge at this point for Spencer. Running down in the pack, but he's got a chance to come back, guys. It's still a long race.
I didn't think we'd see that many guys pit under this caution. Matt?
Well, the 36 car is still in, Alan. Kenny Schrader reported the car was a little wobbly on entry. Tight up off the corner, they pulled a half a rubber out of the right rear, but it was a very close call trying to get to his pit stall with the 6 and another car. He had to stop and wait for the 6 to leave before he could pull in.
19th place on down were the guys that stopped. Mr. Parsons, you were saying?
Okay, let's go inside once again our Roush Team Caliber 360 car and show you what we're talking about by the drive shaft. This is it. It goes from the transmission, engine, transmission, drive shaft, back to the rear gear. The axles in here go out to the tires, and that's what turns it. This is what broke on the 22 car, the drive shaft.
And BP, do you think maybe that spin had anything to do with maybe twisting that drive shaft?
It could have. It very well could have.
So Ward Burton's got problems, and the Daytona 500 winner's dreadful season to this point since that victory continues. Looked to me like the first one that stopped was the 19th place car. And from then on back were the guys who came down pit road there. Most of the front runners stayed out.
And I think that, that's a good move on those guys' part. Obviously, Matt Kenseth it was a great move because everybody followed him in the pit. So now he's got fresh tires and a full load of gas, and all these cars in front of him are going to have to pit, or they're on older tires. So it's going to be interesting to see, BP, if these guys can cut through the field on new tires like what we saw yesterday. Tires made a big difference.
Bill?
Yeah, Alan, a lot of guys down here already thinking gas mileage strategy as well, because there's a possibility, and just the possibility, that this thing could go long green. So that's why some guys stop. Mark Martin is second in points. His car was very loose at the beginning of the race. He came down pit road, but just cleaned the grill and got fuel because his car seems to get better the longer they run. So watch for that. Mark Martin second in points, but restarts near the rear of the field.
Check out our Wendy's race menu, let you know what's coming up as our coverage of NASCAR continues on NBC and TNT. Next weekend, it's on to Loudoun, New Hampshire for coverage of the New England 300. You'll see that on TNT, as well as the Busch Series race next Saturday night from St. Louis. Pocono, the giant 2.5-mile track in Pennsylvania, July 28th. And the Brickyard 400 and the road course in Watkins Glen. Pace cars off, set to go back racing. Ryan Newman out in front. It's Bill Elliott, Tony Stewart, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and Rusty Wallace, the top 5.
And one reason that these teams would choose to pit now this early on is they are now in a fuel window. They can make it on 3 more stops. Some of these other guys in front are going to have to stop 4 times. They've only got to stop 3 times.
That's a good reason.
A very good reason.
Dale Jarrett trying to get a spot on Rusty Wallace. Not able to do so. Rusty DJ in 6th. The best two cars in yesterday's practice, Ryan Newman and Dale Earnhardt Jr., they had the fastest lap. A lot of folks thought that Dale Jr. was going to be tough to beat today that I talked to down in the garage this morning.
Yeah, that was the consensus of the folks I talked to. The 8-car Junior would be the car to beat. And so far, he's looking pretty good, hanging in 4th place.
You know, Dave Blaney looked like he was cutting underneath there to pass someone, maybe Kevin Harvick. He's already up to 22nd, starting from the rear.
Wally, I think they've made Dave Blaney a little angry today.
And probably himself, too. I know when you do that, I did that once at Las Vegas. I passed about 15 cars before turn 1. I just forgot you weren't supposed to between flag drops.
Now, if you've been playing the Tropicana Drink, Watch, and Win game, this is the 24th lap, and this is going to determine who wins. Where does Jeff Gordon place in the field at the completion of lap 24? He is in 16th place right now. And so we'll see. People scrambling for bottle caps all over America right now. There's Jeff, just behind John Andretti. We'll avoid all the squeeze jokes there with the Tropicana promotion. All right, what's it going to be? The winning position for Jeff Gordon in the Drink, Watch, and Win, 16th place. If you had Jeff Gordon in 16th after lap 24, you are a winner from Tropicana.
And you're going to be so mad if he passes someone in one lap and you had 15 on your car.
Yes. All right, so Jeff Gordon running 16th now, 5th place in the championship.
Jeff's car looks like it gets into the corner really, really good. Looks like it gets a pretty good run off the corner.
There's Robbie Gordon leading the team. Richard Childress, 31.
Right up on the back of the 43 car.
Ryan Newman is the leader in the Tropicana 400 from Chicagoland. You're watching NASCAR on NBC.
30 laps are complete in the Tropicana 400 here at the Chicagoland Speedway. Up and down pit road, a number of different strategies starting to play out. Some guys pitting early, others electing to stay out. Some taking tires, some taking just fuel under an early caution. Ryan Newman continues to be the race leader. He was the pole sitter. Here's his radio traffic just a few moments ago.
My only complaint is a little bit more than I want of yaw in answering to 3. But overall, it's really nice. I think that'll go away for sure once we get some more laps here. But arcing pretty good. Looks like it's going to get a little bit tighter and tighter as we go, which I expected. Other than that, I think we're pretty good.
Ryan Newman, the race leader, chased by veteran Bill Elliott. Let's take you through the field, beginning with the race leader, Ryan Newman, and here's Marty.
Well, Bill, that's a pretty rare thing when you hear a race car driver say there's too much yaw in the car. That's an engineer speaking. Ryan Newman, of course, graduated from Purdue with an engineering degree. He started on the pole. He is still first, and that's been his only complaint today. The car just a little bit tight. They never got a long run in practice because they were behind Kurt Busch when he blew up. They only got about 15 laps. Matt Yoakum.
Marty, Bill Elliott restarted in second and currently rides in the same position. He was going to do what the 12 car did on that last caution. If Ryan Newman pitted, the 9 car was going to come as well. He's a little bit on the tight side, but wanted to ride out this set of tires to see how they reacted with some laps on them. Marty.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. pretty happy with the car, currently in third. He said it's tight, but the track is a little bit slicker than he thought it would. Track temperature right now about 133 degrees. In final practice it was 111. Only one top 10 in the last 8 races for Dale Earnhardt Jr. Behind him on the racetrack is Tony Stewart. He is tight as well, and they are very happy with the car. Just a little bit tight. He started 6th. He has moved his way up through the field. Behind Tony Stewart is Dale Jarrett in the 5th position. DJ started 11th, no complaints. Todd Barrett said DJ is very happy. The car was good Saturday morning, not so good in happy hour yesterday, so they went back to their Saturday morning setup for the race today. Sterling Marlin also on the racetrack in the 6th position. He is having more problems. He said it's tight. The car has no overall grip, and they're going to go down down 1 pound on all the tires. Mark Martin is 77 points behind Sterling Marlin, the closest anyone has been to him since Martinsville in April. Joe Nemechek started 10th. He is currently running in the 7th position. The car is very good. Brian Patty is very happy with it. That is his crew chief. Matt Yoakum.
Michael Waltrip started in 5th, but he's faded back to 8th. He says his car's a little bit on the loose side. Back before Pocono, they went to Kentucky to test. They tried to forget everything they knew about racing. And they found a very weird setup, but a very fast setup. And it's paying off this weekend, Bill.
Rusty Wallace is the teammate to race leader Ryan Newman's. Qualified 8th, started there, has slipped back to 10th. Remember, they had that oil scare before the race began. Rusty said that's okay. His car is just very, very tight on the racetrack. Matt?
And Elliott Sadler in the 21 car. His biggest concern is not about his race car, which he really has said not too much about. He's fairly happy moving up to the field. But the biggest concern is his health. He's been battling the flu all weekend. Last night, his brother Hermie told me he spent the whole night hydrating himself with water, hoping that today would not be as hot as it is, but it's the hottest day we've had all weekend. Bill?
Running in the 11th spot is Todd Bodine, who also raced here yesterday. Now the big news for this team, Todd has slipped the 12th. Let's update his running position. Todd is currently 12th. The big news for this team, not only good on the track, but good off. They have signed Discover Card as a race sponsor for the rest of this season. Today, Todd would like to charge into victory lane. We'll see what happens. Marty?
And Bobby Labonte is the man who passed Todd Bodine on the racetrack, Bill. He is up to 11th. He started 12th. His car started very, very tight. In fact, they debated on a pit stop. Then when they decided not to come in, he radioed after the first couple of green flag laps on this run. That was a good decision because now the car started coming to him. Since his win at Martinsville, he has had no top 10 finishes. Jeff Gordon behind him on the racetrack, currently running in the 12th position. He is very happy. He says the car is getting better. Gordon started 15th. He's made up 3 spots. He has gone 25 races without a win. Much talked about, but he went 41 races without a win to start his career. Matt Yoakum.
Robbie Gordon felt like the biggest hindrance today would be his track position at the drop of the green. He started 21st. He has methodically moved his way to the front. He says the car is tight up off the corner, shoving the nose. This is the same race car that he won his first career win in the season finale last season. Dave?
Starting 16th, Matt Kenseth knew that he would be battling traffic all day, so yesterday in happy hour, they never ran out front in clean air. They only tried to work on running with cars and passing them. Unfortunately, the 43 car of John Andretti, who just got by him, has been battling him all day. Andretti worked on his passing too. Andretti's running just a little bit hot, and he's a little bit tight up off the corner. They'll try to make an air pressure adjustment, according to crew chief Brandon Thomas, on the next stop. Marty?
And Kurt Busch had the big task of trying to work his way up through the field. Remember, he lost 2 engines in happy hour, or 1 in the morning practice, 1 in the afternoon practice. We talked about him starting at the back of the field. Terrific progress all the way up into the 17th position now is Kurt Busch. The car is very good, and now he just took another spot. He's up in 16th. Ricky Craven also having a nice run out on the racetrack. He's a little bit tight in the center of the corner is Ricky. Big week next week for Ricky Craven. He wants to go to his home track in New Hampshire, a winner. Today Burns.
Jimmy Johnson had to start in the back of the field after wrecking his backup car in the first lap of practice. But this car is good. They worked on it in final practice as well. Right now, though, he has a little bit of a problem with overheating. The crew asked him to cut off the fan to the motors to see if that would help at all and give him more power. It does not. He is still underpowered. Bill?
Brett Bodine is currently running in the 20th spot. 1 week ago, Saturday night, involved in that fiery crash in the Pepsi 400 at Daytona. Yesterday morning, he got out of bed in the wrong fashion and twisted his back. He had to have it worked on in the help trailer in the garage yesterday and again today. He's most comfortable in the race car because it's nice and warm, he's nice and snug. Brett Bodine looking for a nice mid-season miracle. As for Kevin Harvick, a winner here 1 year ago. We all know the story about how RCR has struggled this season. Kevin Harvick looking to get back to victory lane here in Chicago with a crew chief swap a few weeks ago, and the fact that they have moved into their new shops in Welcome, North Carolina. Harvick said he would not be surprised if his team went to victory lane today. Matt?
Bill, Jeremy Mayfield entered the season with renewed enthusiasm with a new team, being a member of the Dodge camp. Currently, though, the 19 car is tight. They also had a little bit of reshuffling this past week. Dave Skog is the team manager. Mike Kelly has been promoted to chief mechanic, just trying to find something to turn around this 19 team, looking for some momentum, Dave.
Just checked in with the crew of Ricky Rudd. Fatback McSwain waved me off and said, we're fine. Things are looking good right now, trying to come up through the field and improve on the starting position that he had from 38th. As for Dave Blaney, he's a little bit tight when he gets back on the gas. That means he gets into the corner well, but when he gets back on the throttle, the car wants to push toward the wall. They will try to correct that as well on the next stop. Matt?
Steve Park's last top 5 finish with a second place in the sprint race in Dover in 2001. He too looking to turn around his season, back in the one car currently running in the 25th position. He says the car is tight in the center of the corner, up off the corner. They're talking about adjustments on their stop. Bill?
Mark Martin all the way back in 26th. Remember, he's one of the cars that pitted under an early caution. He just took fuel and they cleaned the grill, but his car has not been handling the way he was hoping. Another thing here, when you get back in traffic, it makes it very hard to advance your position. Dave?
Bill Mike Skinner came in during that last round of pit stops and took on 2 left side tires because he was loose. Now, because he was tight. Normally that would tighten up the car, but they use lower air pressures to tighten up the car, or to loosen up the car, excuse me. So the problem right now for Skinner, a bit tight. Last year here, his car ended up in the wall, which was a hard wreck for him, and he ended up missing 4 races as a result of it. He's back in style now, trying to keep this thing on track for the entire show. As for Kyle Petty, he did not stop the last time. He is running fine right now. Petty making his way in the Sprint Dodge, trying to impress his sponsors for next year, as Sprint will be leaving this car at the end of the season. As for Jeff Green at this point in the America Online Chevrolet, as we have a change for the lead. Alan?
Well, we don't have a change yet, but Bill Elliott in that 9 car, Dave, is getting closer and closer. They're going by Casey Atwood, the 7, to put him a lap down. But Elliott, the last few laps, has been faster than the pole sitter, Ryan Newman.
A couple of phrases that our guys talked about referring to different cars, tight and yaw.
Yeah, well, one thing is when the car's tight or pushing, it's real simple. These guys go down the corner. The rears are sticking better than the fronts. So when you drive the car down in there and you get back on the gas, he wants to shove the nose up the racetrack. And the only way you can make it stop doing that is you have to roll out of the throttle. On the yaw deal, to me, BP, I think when they're talking about yaw, it's when the car actually turns down into the corner. When the car is twisted, it's almost like it's sideways getting into the corner. And that's what Ryan Newman was referring to.
He was talking about the car being a little bit loose. Normally those guys said, well, it's too loose. Being an engineer, he said their car goes in yaw.
Too much yaw.
Too much yaw.
Bill Elliott caught Ryan Newman in traffic, but now that they got by the Casey Atwood car, the lead is stabilized. So we'll take a break. Newman continues to lead the Tropicana 400. The Chicagoland Speedway, just outside the Windy City, home of today's Tropicana 400 for the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. And we look down on this 930-acre complex from the U.S. Army Skycam, courtesy of the United States Army and Army of One.
Okay, all you Earnhardt fans, set up, pay attention. Junior has moved into the 2nd spot and is closing in on the leader, Ryan Newman.
And beginning to see some green flag pit stops among the front runners. Jeremy Mayfield was just in, and Tony Stewart is now on pit road. Stewart giving up 5th place to commit for his stop.
And Ryan Newman has been there. Oh, here we go. Battle for the lead. 3, 4 wide off 2.
Ran up on Jeremy Mayfield coming off the pit lane. And that's Jerry Nadeau in the 0-0.
Oh, look out, Junior. Got in that corner, didn't have the angle just right to get it in the corner. When he got in, he had nowhere to go except up the hill. And luckily, Ryan Newman gave him some room.
Bill Elliott is on the pit road. Just lost 2nd place to Earnhardt Jr. a couple laps ago. He's now in. There's Elliott's Dodge. Matt?
Bill Elliott comes to a stop. His car was extremely good on entry, but is tight up off the corner. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment, down a half a pound on all 3 corners except the right rear. Jim Coleman indexes the rear tire. Is from Oak Lawn, the south side of Chicago. He's captain of his football team. 15 February we're here to see that good stop.
Money's safe for now.
Money's safe. Oh, yeah.
Joe Nemechek is in for his pit stop as Earnhardt Jr. continues trying to put Jerry Nadeau a lap down. Ken Schrader, Kenny Wallace, Casey Atwood, Steve Grissom, and Stuart Kirby have all gone laps down already. Marty?
And Joe Nemechek is in, having a terrific run. This is the first car Brian Patty can truly call his own as crew chief. They cut up the body, they took it to the wind tunnel, they tested with it at Kentucky, and so far it is very good. No changes for Joe Nemechek at 4 tire. Phil Weber.
Brett Rodin is on pit road. Just a few laps ago, he told his crew he's losing power in the race car. They make a chassis adjustment and a 4-tire stop. Some of these teams are going to want 2, but most will take 4 because they need the full load of fuel. We'll see what happens. Brett's still getting service, waiting for that fuel. He's on his way. We go to Burns.
And John Andretti comes in. He gives up his spot on the track now. They are going to take on 4 tires. Remember, John was running hot. They're probably going to take a little tape off the front. Looks like they go by that move. It must be improving as far as the heat goes. They will change the left side now. Air pressure adjustments only for Andretti. Remember, he was also a little bit tied up off the corner. Now he is off pit lane.
Rusty Wallace will be the next of the leaders to come onto pit road. He will be followed in by Todd Bodine. Bill?
Rusty on pit road, and as you mentioned, Todd Bodine in the 26 right behind him. Rusty and his guys talked about 2 right side tires and adding a spring rubber. But because the car is so bad tight and because they need full load of fuel, it's going to be 4 tires and up on the track bar. So Rusty Wallace looking for his first win of the season, got his first top 5 of the year last week in the Pepsi 400. Long time on the left rear. Rusty's on his way. Marty.
Everybody talking about when's Jeff Gordon going to win, Bill? Well, this is the car he last won in Kansas. It is the same combination, and they're very happy with it right now. Tight all the way through the corner, did Jeff say. They are going to make a chassis adjustment, and it'll be 4 tires for the 3-time Winston Cup champion, Jeff Gordon.
Bobby Gordon is in, Sterling Marlin is in, Bobby Labonte's ducked down off the racetrack, and he's on the pit lane. There's your championship leader, Marlin. And we go back to Marty.
And Sterling Marlin had all the problems, Alan, early on the racetrack. He was very, very tight and no grip, he said. So they're going to go down 1 pound on all the tires. They will also make a chassis adjustment. Right in front of him pitting will be Bobby Labonte. The car is very tight. They're going to take a pound out of the right front tire. That should loosen it up just a little bit. But Bobby's still fairly happy with the race car. Mickey Craven also running in the top 15. He too is tight. Slides to a stop in his pit stall. They too will make a chassis adjustment, trying to loosen him up.
The major wedge adjustment on the 1 car of Steve Park is the guys are already around to the left side. He said one hindrance he had today, he felt like he didn't have enough power down the straight. Park stalls it. Park stalls the car. The crew guys are pushing. He's finally moving down pit road.
Bill Jarrett is in. Was up to 3rd place before giving off for his stop. Still no move to pit road from either of the first 2, Earnhardt Jr. or Ryan Newman. Dave Burns. Check that, Marty Snyder.
And Dale Jarrett was very happy with the car, just a little bit tight. They will make an adjustment of air pressure to try and fix that. They were very good yesterday morning, and that's the setup they have under the car right now, even though it is a lot hotter. Very quick stop going, especially on the front for Dale Jarrett. It will be a 4-tire change and that slight air pressure adjustment for the Winston Cup champion. Alan?
Front 2 are in. Dale Earnhardt Jr. being followed down the pit lane by Ryan Newman. 55 miles an hour is the speed limit today on pit road. And the lead is taken over by Michael Waltrip as these 2 come in. Back to Marty.
And this will be an interesting race. These guys 1-2 on the racetrack. They pit also right beside each other on pit road, or 1 pit stall separates the 2. Ryan Newman just a little bit tight, and it got tighter the longer he ran. They had the track bar adjustment and a wedge adjustment to overcompensate for that track bar adjustment they made. Dale Earnhardt Jr. will go with air pressure just a little bit tight. He said the track is slick, and they will win the race on pit road with Ryan Newman by a bunch.
The jack fell on the 12 car. Something happened, and the jack fell. Michael Waltrip was coming down pit road, the Napa car, to make his pit stop.
Announcement made this morning, as we talked about in Discover Car Countdown to Green, that Napa has signed on with Michael and the DEI team for another couple of years, Matt.
And Michael Waltrip also took the grass route on his entrance to pit road. His car was a little bit loose, so they're going to make a wedge adjustment. As they come around to the left side, Chad Walton puts that left rear tire on a little bit slower on the left front. Michael Gaston, he's down and away.
to Marty. And Kurt Busch made great progress from the back of the field up into the top 10, Matt, and they made no adjustments. Remember, we told you earlier, this is the California car that led the most laps. It is a very good race car. So far, it's been number 5, Dave Burns.
Matt Kenseth is in. They're going to go up on the track bar, plus an air adjustment. 4 tires in the 17. Remember, he was tight coming up off the corner. He revs the engine high. Matt is ready to go. He is down and out of here with a huge burnout here on pit road. Another award-winning pit stop, Benny Maybe.
These guys have done a good job all year long. That's why they got the Golden Benny Award.
Check out the entrance to pit road here just a second ago. Michael Waltrip trying to get in off the track for his stop. Trying to slow down from 180-something to 55.
He hits pit road. Uh-oh.
He missed pit road.
He did miss pit road, didn't he?
And, you know, that's easy to do because you're coming off the racetrack with those hot tires, and you can see right when he gets off the groove there, that's all dirty and slippery, and it's really hard to get the car to turn there.
But you know one thing, he can't get caught for speeding in the grass.
That's true.
There's no lines in the grass. Good thinking, Michael.
Now some more pit stops. Ricky Rudd, Mike Skinner, Kyle Petty. And we've just about gone through the round of guys who didn't stop earlier, Dave.
And one would include Ricky Rudd. He did not stop earlier. No chassis adjustments on the car. Not a lot of radio chatter before Ricky came in. 4 tires are going to change. And now yelling, they're having a little trouble on the right front. They have a lug nut jam. Bobby Burrell going back over the wall trying to get the lug nut out of his gun now. He'll head back over, and Ray Holm has jumped in, and he'll take off the left front as well. One crew member helping another, but this is a bad long pit stop for Ricky Rudd.
Jimmy Johnson is on pit road. He was one of the guys that stopped earlier under the caution back at lap 18.
As a matter of fact, he gives up the lead to come down pit road and make that pit stop.
Kevin Harvick, Mark Martin, Jeff Green, Hud Strickland, and Jeff Burton go to the top 5. Those guys all stopped earlier on that lap 18 yellow. And there's Harvick, the race leader. He was the first one off pit road. Johnson had passed him, but now Jimmy's come in and pitted again.
There's a lot, it looks like on these pit stops, BP, there's a lot of tight race cars. There's a lot of guys trying to loosen their cars up, but also I see a lot of tape coming off the front, which that doesn't help because when you take tape off the front to help the engines cool down a little bit, that takes the stick out of the nose. Here comes Harvick to the pits right now.
So we're seeing these guys have to come to the pit lane already. They stopped at, what, 18? We are at 72 now. Bill Weber?
Alan, they wanted to stay out to lap 74, but the pace here is so frantic, you just cannot stay out there. The driver's begging to come down pit road. Kevin Harvick got a benefit of coming in 2 laps earlier than they had planned. This will be a 4-tire stop. Want to take 1 pound out of the left rear tire to improve the handling of a race car. Remember, Harvick, a winner here a year ago, desperately trying to get Richard Childress in this 29 team and his new crew chief Gilmore to victory lane.
A great pit stop for that crew. 15 and a half seconds.
But no money.
No money.
$12.99 or better in the BP Challenge. Did you ever get your money back from these guys this morning?
Oh, yeah, they did. Every time.
Mark Martin, second in the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship. Coming into today's race, now the leader of the Tropicana 400. He's 77 points behind Sterling Marlin, coming into this halfway mark of the season race. Aerial views today, courtesy of the U.S. Army and Army of One. As we look at the Chicagoland Speedway, a 1.5-mile track today hosting the Tropicana 400. At the moment, we've got different pit stop schedules going on. Mark Martin pitted at lap 18 along with a series of drivers. They are still out there on the track, while many of the early leaders of the race just came onto pit road for fuel. Dale Earnhardt Jr. was the race leader at the time of his stop. He's worked his way back up to 10th spot now, but he is 19 seconds behind this car, Mark Martin. Yesterday, the NASCAR Busch Series ran the Tropicana Twister 300 here at Chicagoland. First Busch Series win for Johnny Sauter.
And it was a very popular win in the grandstands. He grew up about 150 miles from here.
Reseda, Wisconsin. And that series of green flag pit stops continues. Jeff Green on the pit lane. Dave?
Who is, by the way, a Richard Childress Racing entry as well in the Winston Cup Series. He's going to put a round of wedge in the car, a little bit tight according to crew chief Todd Barrier. They're also going to change 4 tires. A little bit of left rear damage to Jeff Green. It is a contact contact sport out there, guys.
Yeah, that was from the Ward Burton spin back at lap 4.
There's also damage to the left front fender in the 30 car. It looks like an accordion effect. He got in the back of someone, backed off, and Ward got...
Oh, Terry Labonte is spinning coming onto pit road. Michael Waltrip missed it. Terry did too. No caution.
Is he stalled or no?
Well, that's what they're waiting to find out. There he goes. And he'll stay on the green.
A lot of guys are happy about that because half the field would have went down the lap.
Yeah,
that yellow one came out right there.
If the caution comes out before the rest of the lead cars pit, some guys are going to be in trouble.
And Jim Long told me this morning if this became a fuel mileage race, that Terry Labonte would be awfully good. Unfortunately, that spin on pit road took away the advantage that he had. Spin coming on to pit road.
Matt?
Well, this will be a 4-tire change for Terry Labonte. They made a significant wedge adjustment. He says his car was loose.
Jerry Nader is in. Also, Kenny Wallace is in for a pit stop, waiting on Hut Strickland. He's the second place car. Here he comes onto the pit lane. Also got Jeff Burton, who has not stopped yet, and he is on the pit road now. So Mark Martin in that 6th car is the race leader. It looks like he's run out of fuel.
I think he's out of fuel.
Oh. It's going to cost him a lot of ground. While we wait for Mark to get back around to the pit lane, let's cover some more stops. Bill?
Hut Strickland on pit road. It's a 4-tire stop. Fuel going in. He's about 3 pit stalls down from Mark Martin. His crew was on the wall. Martin's crew was waiting for him about another 6 laps. Now it's a crawl down pit road for Mark Martin. We're going to make an air pressure adjustment because he's been very, very tight. But the goal here is going to make sure that car does refire, which it does, and Mark will be able to get off of pit road. Around to the left side again. It's 4 tires and fuel, air pressure adjustment because the car has been so tight. Mark stopped on lap 18, this is lap 84. He's on his way. That cost him, though.
And what you got to be careful there is when you come into the pits with no engine, you have no way to gauge what your pit road speed is. So a lot of guys get hammered cutting down pit lane when they run out of gas because they don't know how fast they're going.
After the start of the pit stops, Tony Stewart. The orange Home Depot car is out in front. Leads Dale Jarrett by 2.5 seconds. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is up to 3rd. Bill Elliott 4th. Now runs 5th. Rest of the top 10, Sterling Marlin, Joe Nemechek, Jeff Gordon, Elliott Sadler, and Kurt Busch. Under green at lap 85, watching NASCAR on NBC.
Welcome back to the Tropicana 400, and appropriately enough, it's an orange car that is leading this race. Tony Stewart in a Pontiac with Dale Jarrett, Dale Earnhardt Jr., the 9-car Bill Elliott, and pole sitter Ryan Newman. Outstanding work in the pits for the 20 car, and it's Tony Stewart that is really hustling his car around the racetrack, BP. He's got his foot to the floor, doesn't he?
He really does, and he's running terrific laps. And after all, he's been out there about 30, a little over 30 laps on this set of tires and still running very, very fast.
Yeah, last time by, Tony Stewart ran a 31.25 second lap. Dale Jarrett, the second place car, ran a 31.38 second lap. And Dale Earnhardt Jr., the third place car, a 31.41 second lap. He's got the third place by 2/10, the second place by a 10th a lap.
And when these guys hit, you know, I remember him really good at Michigan because he gets his car to work down on the bottom. There's a lot of racetracks, Homestead. The car's really good on the bottom, and boy, when they hit the setup, Tony is hard to beat on these racetracks. Now, another car is a 25 car, Joe Nemechek. I've been watching him, and his car's been working exceptionally good on the bottom. He's been running some good laps as well.
Does a pass for 6th place there with Nemechek moving up. Todd Bodine using that high lane. Well, you said the high lane was in today.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, that's great. So there seems to be a general consensus of everybody that the more years of wear that get put on this pavement, the better the racing we'll see here. The fresher pavement just grips too good almost. There's too much grip in it for side-by-side racing.
It's better this year than it was last year, and it'll be better next year than it is this year. Sterling Marlin, he didn't like to be passed by Nemechek, so he's going to decide to pass him back.
Well, I think Joe had to maybe check up. We'll keep an eye on this. I think Joe had to check up a little bit on Stuart Kirby, who was coming into pit lane, and that's why Sterling got such a run, and go right back.
Talked to Ken Howes, the team manager on that 25 car this morning, and he said Boy, do we need a good run. Just a good run to get everybody worked up and get to a good run would be a moral victory for us if we could do it. And today, he's getting it.
Joe Nemechek had that wicked multi-car crash at Daytona last week where he and Brett Bodine took by far the worst shots. I talked to him this morning at the drivers' meeting, asked him how he was feeling, if he was good to go, and he said, you know, the first couple days were really tough, but then when you go late in the week, one day was sore from the accident, and here's how I caught a cold from one of my children, and that knocked me for a loop. Roddy?
Yeah, and they really do need a shot in the arm. Benny, you're exactly right. I talked to Randy Dorton, who's kind of a head engine builder and one of the higher ups at Hendrick Motorsports. He said, you know, these guys have a great car. Clearly it has a chance to finish in the top 5, but they don't need to set the world on fire this weekend. They just need a solid run. They nearly missed the race at Daytona. They had the big accident at Daytona. They just want a solid finish to prove they belong in the top 10 in Winston Cup.
We saw Mark Martin run out of gas coasting down the backstretch earlier, said it would cost him. How much has it cost him? A lap.
Right now he's in 24th position, and you're right. One lap down to Tony Stewart.
So Mark's got a hole to dig out of here. And again, his rival for the championship, Mark, one of those top 5 in points. Sterling Marlin runs in 7th. Tony Stewart is out in front with Dale Jarrett, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Bill Elliott, and Ryan Newman making up the rest of the top 5. Watching NASCAR on NBC. Tony Stewart is the leader of the Tropicana 400 for the NASCAR Winston Cup Series here at Chicagoland Speedway. He's got a chance for right now, not with the second place car, but with some guys who don't want to get lapped.
We just had a big one, almost had a big one going in turn 3 a moment ago as Robbie Gordon made contact with a 19 car, Jeremy Mayfield. But everything is under control now as Robbie Gordon is under Jeremy Mayfield's car, goes by him, and here comes Tony Stewart.
Mayfield and Gordon running 19th and 20th, trying to stay as the last cars on the lap. Rusty Wallace has just gone a lap down to the leader. Kyle Petty, Jeff Green has also gone a lap down. Let's take a look at what we were talking about a minute ago. This was up in turn 3 as Tony Stewart ran up on the back of this whole pack of cars. Watch this.
On board with Robbie Gordon. He drives on the inside of Jeremy. Oh, catch him in the left rear. Jeremy goes up the hill, gets it back under control.
Good save, Jeremy.
That boy.
And Tony is running right behind Robbie Gordon when that happens.
It doesn't look like much, but he's about 175 mile an hour sideways there.
Just past 150 miles in the event now. And Stewart's lead on Dale Jarrett is 1.4 seconds. With Dale Earnhardt Jr. 4 seconds back in 3rd. Bill Elliott 7 seconds back in 4th. And Ryan Newman and even 10 seconds back in 5th. 2 caution flags in the race so far. Ward Burton spun down the front stretch at lap 5. He's back in the garage area getting repairs. And debris on the racetrack from Ward Burton's car after his first set of repairs. Brought out the caution at lap 18. 7 lead changes so far. Ryan Newman led the first 56 laps. Dale Earnhardt Jr. went out in front. And then a series of green flag pit stops shuffled things around until Tony Stewart took command at lap 84.
Motion of Ryan Newman as he tries to go by the 23 car, Bud Strickland. And he's been behind him for several laps. Cannot get by. And Joe Nemechek has driven up on the back of Ryan Newman.
Here are our lows, improvers, and snoozers through the first part of the race. Look at the advance for Kurt Busch. 30 spots.
Meanwhile,
guys who are struggling.
Number 9, boys. Grant and Todd and Ward Burton in the garage area. He's gotten behind the 23 car. He picked up that arrow push and just cannot get by. Has been following for several laps.
But Joe seems to get a pretty good run on him. He just seems like he runs out of steam from the middle of the racetrack down into the corner. It looks like that Ryan's got a little bit more motor. But see right here, Joe's car's working real good. He gets underneath him. Then it's a drag race down the straightaway. The problem is Ryan, well, this time, he's going to give it to Joe.
He lifted off the gas.
Yep.
Here he let him go.
Just give it to him.
Benny, you're talking about arrow push.
And the dreaded words that we hate to talk about in this business. The cars have become very, very aerodynamic in the nose of the car, and you depend on air to push the car down for downforce to make the car grip the racetrack. When you pull up behind someone and you can't get all that air on the nose, then the car just does not want to turn. And the turn that they use is an aerodynamic push, or aero push.
I mentioned Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Ryan Newman kind of were the two tag teaming up the front of the pack for most of the early laps. Jr. led the race from 57 to 64. Now he's kind of mired back in third. He's 4 seconds behind the leader, Tony Stewart. Here's what he had to say to his crew about his car's performance just a moment ago.
This plane rolled over on the right front start. That's also into the left front up on the corner of the tire. Now rolls over. He kind of, the left front ain't really trying to work. It was kind of flatter going down in the corner. Might work the left front better, curve better than center, not mean to lose in.
Huh? No, it sounds like, is that damage there on the left front?
I think it's just the way they're making those things. I saw that fender coming down pit road a moment ago, and I thought it was damaged, but I really think that's now the way that they're making these fenders to get downforce on that left front.
Little optical illusion there.
What he's explaining is the car seems like, if I heard it right, BP, the car seems like it's rolling a little bit, and when it rolls over on the right side, it makes the left front tire light, so to speak. It's not getting into the racetrack, getting traction. How about it, Marty?
And guys, here, that's the same thing he said in happy hour yesterday. He was having that same problem, just rolling too much for him. It's not necessarily coil binding, which is when the springs kind of coil up together, but it just kind of rolls too much for him. He was having that same problem, especially in 3 and 4. And remember, that big bump was over in 3 and 4, and that's what was giving his car problems yesterday.
Now, if that's doing that right now when he's by himself, it's got to get a lot worse when he gets around other cars. So if he gets in traffic, he could have his hands full.
Talked about Dale Jr. kind of struggling over the last couple of months. He has only led 15 laps in all the races in the last 2 months. Expect more out of that, more than that out of Jr. He expects more than that out of himself. Right now he's behind Tony Stewart, who is leading the Tropicana 400. Lap 113 of 267 are complete. You're watching NASCAR on NBC.
Welcome back to the Chicagoland Speedway. Tony Stewart, the race leader, is on pit road here in the Tropicana 400. He is a little bit tight. They made a very slight wedge adjustment to loosen him up. He is very happy with the car. Bill Evans.
Rusty Wallace is also on pit road. Was battling to stay on the lead lap. Lost an ignition earlier in the race. Went to the back of the ignition. Wanted to pit the same time as Stewart so he can stay in sequence with him. Major chassis adjustment because Rusty's car has been tight since they dropped the green flag. 4 tires and fuel resting, so with this strategy can get him back into contention.
I don't think anybody can stay in contention with Tony Stewart as long as that crew keeps pulling off those 13.7-second pit stops. Man, Zippy, you and your guys are on the job today. The car is great, and that pit stop was utterly fantastic.
That was a great pit stop. Well, track position right now, especially under these green flag pit stops, are really, really important. Every second or two that you can gain in the pit is a long way on this racetrack.
There's Dale Jarrett taking Miss Piggy for a ride today. Chicagoland.
Doesn't look like a pig. Pretty good.
Taking Miss Piggy for a ride.
She's not taking for a barbecue.
No, this is true.
And Joe Nemechek was running so great, he's coasting between 3 and 4. Now, is he out of fuel? What is the problem with Nemechek? Man.
Joe was running good. His car was fast. I've been watching his time. He was a tenth or 2 faster than everybody on that run. This is going to cost him a little bit.
It's been 60 laps since he was on pit road last. Bill?
Well, the action continues out there on the racetrack, especially with the 88 car chasing the race leader here. Dale Jarrett, now the race leader after Tony Stewart had pitted last week, involved in that multi-car crash in the Pepsi 400 at Daytona, and walked all the way back to his pits. We asked him what that was all about.
Miscommunication on their part, and they came to me and explained what had happened and why it won't happen again. And so I'm satisfied with that. It was an unfortunate situation. The good thing was I wasn't hurt, and nothing came from it other than we're going to have better communication now.
And as we've heard throughout this weekend, and Alan, I know you talked to some of the NASCAR officials, that it was a miscommunication, that some of the rescue vehicles didn't go to the assigned spot. Matt?
No one car, Steve Park is already in for service. Left side tires going down. Park complaining his car was extremely tight in the center of the corner. They adjusted with track bar and air pressure.
Well, Steve Park had some trouble getting onto pit road. This is the third time today we've seen this.
And there we see the yellow car Park slowing down to get on pit road. And there's so much debris there that he gets loose as he hits the apron of the racetrack. And around he goes, almost backs up to the racetrack, but finally stops it. Goes on to pit road, makes a stop, and away he goes. But it costs a lot of time to do that.
He can't go out for speeding though, will he?
No, that's right.
These guys keep this up. They're not going to have to mow that grass for a little while. Marty?
Jeff Gordon is in. He was running in 7th for most of that run. He was tight off the corner. He told Robbie Loomis, I need some help. Robbie Loomis said, we're going to get you some help. He said, good, because I really need a lot. They made a wedge adjustment and 2 separate air pressure adjustments for the Winston Cup champ as he goes off pit road.
Let's meet the guys who go over the wall for the 2014.
Steve Letard, I'm the rear tire carrier. I'm from Cornish, Maine. Jeff Craven, gas man, High Point, North Carolina. Caleb Hurd, Catch Cam, Pulaski, Virginia. It's Craig Carrion, front tire carrier from Sanborn, New York. Todd Kent, front tire changer, Kannapolis, North Carolina. Jeff Cook, the jackman from Charlotte, North Carolina. My name is Shane Church. I change rear tires. I'm from Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
That's pretty neat.
Guys who get it done. Here comes your leader, Dale Jarrett. Now his guys get their chance to shine. As Jarrett picks from the lead at lap 125. Marty?
Car Allen has been very, very good for Dale Jarrett as he creeps slowly down pit road. 4,600 in first gear is the pit road speed for Dale Jarrett. That's 45 miles an hour to you and I. They will make it once again. No changes. Actually, now they're going to make a wedge adjustment on the right side, left side of the car. He has had 3 top 5s in his last 5 races. The car got a little bit bad on him there at the very end of that run. In front of him pitting is Sterling Marlin. As you see Jarrett go off pit road, Sterling says he has no front grip. They've had this problem all day long. They once again will try to fix that with air pressure. He has had 2 top 10s in his last 4 races. The problem is those have been his only top 10s in the last 7 races.
January, that cost him about at least 2 seconds.
At least 2 seconds.
Marlin heads back out on track. Robbie Gordon is on pit road. Todd Bodine's car is being pushed down pit road. Apparently in a stall and won't refire.
Sterling's got something hanging off the right side of the car, it looks like.
Well, I think Todd Bodine ran out of fuel in the Discover car and posted into the pits and just now able to get refired.
It's tough to get those cars fired up. It's 3,400 hours. Kurt Busch is on pit road. One of the top 10. Craven is also coming in. Marty?
And what a great run Kurt Busch has had. The last time they came in, they made a very slight air pressure adjustment. This time the same thing, the car very good, just slightly tight for Kurt Busch, and he's going all the way from the back of the field into the top 10 today.
Long stop, troubles with the right front there.
These guys are struggling today, BP.
Yeah, they are struggling in the pits. Ricky Craven's in the pits. You see Kurt Busch leading. Marty?
Actually, Ricky Craven, Benny, had same lap times on that run, almost from the beginning to the end, as Tony Stewart did. They make no adjustments on the tied forward, and a long stop problems on the left rear. Ryan Newman also in front of him. They will make a wedge adjustment. He has had a problem with the car being tight all day long. They also will make an air pressure adjustment for Ryan Newman. The man has started on the pole. They're going to come back and run back.
Jimmy Johnson's been on pit road, Dave.
And he comes off pit road with 4 fresh tires. Allen, he was a little bit tight off the corners, but he was really fast. So he just wanted a slight adjustment. He worked his way all the way up to 12th after starting deep in the pack.
Bobby Labonte following Johnson off of the pit lane. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is the leader. As we watch Sterling Marlin.
And we saw earlier, we're trying to get a look on the other side here. There was something hanging on the side when he left the car. See that? Right.
They had their run around the tailpipe.
Could be.
We'll get a report. One of our guys are checking his pits, see it might be. Meantime, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is getting ready to come onto pit road, the race leader. He is on pit road.
And Marty Snyder's there. Marty!
Well, guys, I cannot describe to you how badly this team needs a very good pit stop and a very good race today. They've had only one top 10 in the last 8 races, and that was last week. The car started very loose. It's gotten a little bit tight on Junior. They will make a wedge adjustment on the car, and they will make a 4-tire stop. Overall, he's very happy. File this away for later on. He got a very good fuel mileage lead last time, and he stayed out longer than anyone else. He never gets stopped for the buck team.
All right, we were talking about Sterling Marlin, and was there any damage to the right side of his car?
Oh, right there. Look at that. I mean, I don't know what that is hanging there, but it may be part of that.
I think that's part of that skirt.
And it doesn't look like a big deal, but believe me, that is a big deal because that really affects aerodynamics.
Dave?
Matt Kenseth is in. He wanted a half-pound of air pressure all around all 4 tires. He also wanted a wedge adjustment. They made that 1/2 round in the right rear. He is gone.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. ran 15 more laps on fuel than Tony Stewart did. That could decide which one of them has a shot at winning this race.
Well, the first time I think he ran about 64 laps. This time he ran, I think, 67 laps. So he might be able to make it on just one more stop.
His teammate Michael Waltrip getting good fuel mileage too, Matt.
Alan, he certainly is. Slugger Labby's Yuki told me fuel mileage, fuel mileage, fuel mileage. We're going to try to roll it. Fuel mileage. Treble getting the left rear tire off and finally get the left side. Michael is out and away. No adjustments on the 15 car.
Finishing up a round of green flag pit stops, Elliott Sadler is the leader for now. When it all cycles back out, Tony Stewart will hold the top spot once again. Caution is out for the 3rd time in the Tropicana 400, just past halfway in the race. Last week's winner is not going to have a good result today.
We do believe that he lost an engine going down in the corner. Well, I'm kind of convinced of it now as I see the replay. Smoke out the exhaust pipe, always bad news.
I get recalled. Easy. The caution is out. You're in 2nd place. The 30 car ahead of you is the leader. The 30 car ahead of you is the leader. Watch the 20 coming from behind trying to get his lap back.
Well, 20 doesn't have to get his lap back because he is on the lead lap. The caution has helped some, like Mark Martin and Jeff Green. It's gotten them onto the lead lap. Some others, like Joe Nemechek, caution combined with his pit road problems earlier, he's gotten trapped a lap down. Here they come. Start our pit stop coverage with Dave Burns.
Jeff Green, the leader, comes in. He will take on 4 tires. No adjustments. The car has been improving since that last pit stop, and Jeff really didn't want him to do much to it at all. Damage still on the car shows. Marty Snyder.
Tony Stewart is in. He did not like the last adjustment they made, so they took it out. Jeff Gooch Patterson, the gas man, did that. This helped Stewart because he would have had to have stopped 2 more times. Now he only has to stop 1 more time. To Bill Weber.
Mark Martin is already down pit road. This was a huge break for this team. Remember, Mark ran out of gas earlier in the race. This got them back in position to contend for the lead and the win. He almost hit the 30 car, leaving pit road.
Not only got it
So
back,
we're under caution after 139 laps at the Tropicana 400 at the Chicagoland Speedway in Illinois.
we have a developing situation on the championship leader, Sterling Marlin. No, there does not appear to be anything wrong with his car, but all of a sudden he's a lap down. Marty, what's going on down there on pit road?
Well, what happened, Alan, they came in that time for fuel only, and you can see the car pitting. It went over the line. They serviced the car, putting fuel in, and it was over the line. When they serviced it, they had to come down pit road, and they got a penalty after that the next lap. That will put them way back in the field.
See, this time when they came in for the penalty, the team decided to go ahead and change 4 tires. What they're talking about was the lap before when he stopped for fuel only, he was over the line.
So Sterling is being shown back in 27th place, 1 lap down, and that's a big boost to Mark Martin, who is second in the championship, who is running in 8th position at the moment. Got a big shuffle in the running order. Some guys did not pit under the yellow flag. We'll reset it all for you before the green after this. Back back at Chicagoland Speedway. Time for our singular call to the pits. A further update on what's going on with Sterling Marlin. We go back to Marty Snyder.
Well, Alan, let's show you the actual pit stop from Sterling's pit camera from the team and what they record. You can see the stop happening. You can see the official right there saying, go back, go back. They are over the line. That's the line. They serviced the car anyway while it was over the line, and that is a penalty. You cannot service the car while it's over the line, and they continued to service the car even though it was beyond the front line of their pit stall. That's why they got the penalty, and that's why the penalty was served on pit road.
So Sterling goes a lap down.
Man, oh man, that was tough. And that, I mean, Mark Martin, meanwhile, the closest competitor currently in the standings, Mark Martin, just 12 points behind. You know, the worst part about it, Sterling Marlin today has probably run better than Mark Martin. God, what a tough break.
Cleanup continues here at Chicagoland Speedway, so let's take a break. We'll come back for the restart in the Tropicana 400.
Dale Earnhardt Jr., the leader, as we remain under caution. 75,000 fans have seats here at the Tropicana 400, but they had to leave home early to get there. That means they missed the Discover Card Countdown to Green, and that means they missed all this. In the rule book that maintains how NASCAR governs the end of the race?
No, there's not.
Do you think there should be a zero-tolerance policy in post-race inspection?
Well, how do you penalize a guy for having a spring that's set?
Well, you better find a spring that doesn't collapse.
I think the current policy is reasonable.
This is my trophy. I can give it to who I choose. Robbie Reiser, the first Golden Benny Award to you and the DeWalt crew. By the way, guys, I still got $700 for that 13-second challenge. You guys want this money or not? Wait a minute.
And we'll be back next week with the Discover Card Countdown to Green from the New Hampshire International Speedway at Loudon on TNT. Remember, if you miss the Countdown to Green, you start the race a lap down. And Benny, there was a lot of news going on this week and a lot of stuff happening on that show today.
There really was, Bill. As a matter of fact, this week, the 48 car, Jimmy Johnson was fined. His crew chief, Chad Knaus, was fined $25,000. They were also fined 25 driver points and 25 owner points. The violation, they had a bolt mounted in the rear trailing arm in the wrong spot. This is the right trailing arm. They had moved this bolt forward that holds the front of the trailing arm 5/16 of an inch forward, trying to get some bow in this rear spring at Daytona. This is the trailing arm, hooks up here, goes back in the rear housing, sits on top of it. 5/16 of an inch. Guys, is that worth $25,000, you think?
Is it worth 25 points? Is the question, but obviously the thought on NASCAR's part, in my conversation with Jim Hunter, NASCAR's Vice President of Communications earlier this weekend, was that was an innovation, we'll call it, that Chad Knaus did that was purely designed to enhance the performance of their car at Daytona. It was a pre-race violation. They found it before the race. And so they felt that was worth the deterrent of throwing the points in there. Napa Field summary. A lot of lead changes because we've had a lot of green flag pit stops in the race. That's helped bump that number up. 3 caution flags. The only car out of the race so far, Michael Waltrip, who has just gone to the garage. Stuart Kirby and Jeremy Mayfield now behind the wall. Mayfield's team working on a rear end gear that has burned up in their Dodge. Now, this is one of those funny restarts where the leader is not the first car on the track. The front row cars you see there, Bob Cavani and Dave Blaney, plus the black car there, Kyle Petty, the 45, the black and red car, they are on the tail end of the lead lap. The leader is Dale Earnhardt Jr., red car outside the lead. This driver chose not to pit under this caution. They stayed out behind the pace car when everybody else came in. Cycled them around to being basically a mile and a half behind leader Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Back on the lead lap, looked like Ricky Rudd, the third car on the screen right there.
So the key moment for all these guys in the race is right now. These guys in front of Earnhardt Jr., they've got to stay out in front of him and hope the caution comes out quick.
And here comes Junior on the inside of Kyle Petty, trying to put that sprint Dodge lap down. Looks like he's going to do it. And Ryan Newman, pole sitter. Looks like he has his car adjusted back running well.
Now more information on Junior, because Dale Jr., Ryan Newman, Elliott Sadler, and Matt Kenseth did not pit under that caution. That's why they assumed the lead. Tony Stewart is back in 8th spot right now.
You see Tony trying to get by Rusty Wallace, and there's a 25 car, Joe Nemechek, has his car back running and running well, but a lap down because of running out of fuel, having to coast almost all the way around the racetrack.
So we got this all straight. We got guys on the tail end of the lead lap, guys that didn't pit, other guys that pitted. A strategy gem unfolding today.
I understand it perfectly.
There you go.
That means I've been here way too long.
Out of the bottom, been overtaken by the leader, Dale Jr., so he's been put back a lap down. You watch Tony Stewart, who's dominated the middle miles of this race, caught back in traffic. Dale Earnhardt Jr. leads Ryan Newman, Elliott Sadler, Matt Kenseth, and Dale Jarrett. 150 laps are complete of 267 that make up today's race. Looking down on the Chicagoland Speedway, courtesy of the U.S. Army, an Army of one. The Tropicana 400 is at the 157 lap complete mark. Another 10 laps around will be 250 miles in. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is the leader. Third time today he's been out in front. He's got a second and a half on Ryan Newman with Matt Kenseth, Dale Jarrett, and Jeff Gordon rounding out the top 5. Tough sledding for Robbie Gordon here just a moment ago. Robbie running back in 14th place right now, 11 seconds behind the leader, but they are checking the right side for damage.
Comes off turn 2, goes up to the racetrack, hard on the throttle, and a hard wall. And we know it hit it because we can see the tire rubber, the rubber on the wall. Doggone these white walls.
I think that was just classic, just getting the right side tires and that gray stuff. Lost grip. You're drifting up the racetrack anyway. Once you hit those marbles, the only thing that can stop you is the wall.
Ken Schrader's gone to the garage. Engine failure reported. His car is out of the race.
And Jeff Burton slowed a moment ago like he lost a cylinder or something, but he still is on the racetrack.
Kevin Harvick, the defending winner of this race, having a decent day. He's up in 13th place now after starting back in 32nd, Bill Weber.
Absolutely, Alan, and decent days for Richard Childress Racing this year have been few and far between. In fact, Robbie hitting the wall, a classic example of how their season has gone. Next week on the Countdown to Green, we will profile Richard Childress Racing. Yesterday, we talked to Kevin Harvick about coming here to Chicago and hopefully turning his season.
The car was really good when we unloaded at the tire test. It was good when we unloaded it this weekend. So it's I wouldn't be at all surprised if it was this weekend.
And here's one reason Kevin Harvick might go to victory lane. When they did the tire test, they found out that these sticker tires here are good. But on longer runs, scuff tires that have been run around the track maybe just say once in practice, are much better. You scuff them up, they get tougher. He found out they're better in the long run. That's the news up and down pit road. You want scuffed tires if it's going to stay green. They say tire test shouldn't count as a real test. But if you're the guy doing the tire test, Benny, it's a huge advantage.
All these guys are just begging Goodyear, let me do the tire testing, because you're right. They get a test at a speedway that's free. NASCAR only allows these teams to test, I think it's 7 times per year. When you go to the racetrack and test for Goodyear, it doesn't count against you. So Kevin Harvick's team this year could have 8 tests.
And again, Harvick on the lead lap back in 13th place. Dale Jarrett trying to get 7th spot away from Elliott Sadler. In the 88, Sadler in 21.
You're going to have to work for it. You got it. Did it the hard way on the outside.
Yep.
Although Elliott's not having any of it.
He made the pass. He got it turned a little bit too hard. Gets it up to the racetrack, and Elliott goes back by.
Remember, Elliott did not pit on that last caution, so he's out there on older tires, but only 5 laps over. He had just stopped before the caution flag came out, so there was nothing to lose for him staying on the racetrack. And certainly everything to gain with the track position. Matt, what you got?
Well, it's certainly been a tough day for both Burton brothers. Ward had trouble early. Now Jeff reports in with his crew chief Frank Stoddard. I've lost a cylinder. I'm going to back off and try to ride and make this thing last as long as I can. His chances for victory gone for the day.
Saw a lot of attrition in yesterday's NASCAR Busch Series race, combination of mechanical failures and a lot of accidents, but so far it's been a fairly clean race here today. Only 3 caution flags. 2 of those for debris, 1 for a single car spin down the front straightaway. Dale Earnhardt Jr. leads the Tropicana 400. The 400 continues from Chicagoland Speedway on NBC with Dale Earnhardt Jr. leading Ryan Newman by, listen to this, 4.7 seconds.
I mean, Junior said, see you guys. He's still running under 31 seconds. Right now, he's almost 3/10 of a second per lap faster than Ryan Newman.
The attrition rate continuing to grow. Jeff Burton's car is on pit road and being pushed backwards toward the garage. Now Mike Wallace is on pit road, subbing for Johnny Benson in that 10 car while Benson nurses his injured ribs. Johnny's not going to feel any better seeing that sight at the top of the screen. JB, your car's not doing very well right now. And their team car, Ken Schrader, just went out a little bit ago. Dave, what's going on?
Well, they just put the hood back down. It sounds like it's missing on at least one cylinder. And they pulled it in, they looked under the hood, they checked a couple of things, but it sounds like it will just last a few laps more. And as you mentioned, of course, Schrader's car, the team car, out just a few laps earlier with motor trouble. So not a good day for those power plants.
There's a Muppet not having a good day. Who is that fellow there?
It's Fozzie Bear. He's supposed to be the committee.
It's not a funny thing, Fozzie.
Very funny. By the way, I spoke with Johnny Benson yesterday. He said he's hurting, but he's okay. He will be out until at least the Brickyard 400 in Indy, so he'll miss New Hampshire and Pocono. They're concerned mostly about his lung, a little portion of which partially deflated in the crash at Daytona last week. So he's out for at least a couple of more weeks. Sailing away. Last lap by, he ran 2/10 quicker than second place Ryan Newman. Now, somebody not running very well at the moment.
Oh, man.
Is Dale Jarrett in that 88 car.
I mean, it's driving like a truck right now. It really is. We saw him racing with Elliott Sadler, 10 laps ago. Well, Sadler and all these other cars have driven away. And as they come across DJ, they pass him. He goes in the corner while he turns the wheel and just will not stay on the bottom of the racetrack.
Yeah, he cannot stay at the bottom, like you say, BP. And he's having a hard time even in the top lane right now. So he's got his hands full for sure.
What's up with Dale Jarrett, Marty?
Well, you guys said it looked like a truck, and it feels like a truck to Dale Jarrett. It's very, very tight out there. They really believe that it's this set of tires not matching up to his chassis very well, because he was excellent earlier in the race. They made very little changes to the car actually today, so they think it's this set of tires just doesn't agree with the setup they have on the chassis right now.
Well, you talked about that earlier. There being some concern on the teams about last year's tires and this year's tires being all mixed together.
Yeah, I mean, I know there were a couple teams in the final practice that had that trouble. So whenever you have different tires, if you put, say, your left sides are from this year and the right sides are last year, it's hard to tell. When a set of tires sit around for a year, it's hard to tell what they're going to do. That may be the problem. I'm not sure. But obviously, you come in and you think you've got a good setup, you make a minor adjustment, you put 4 tires on, and obviously Jarrett is a lot slower than he was with the last set of tires. So I'm sure he's wanting to get in pit lane and get some new rubber on that car.
And it's not that there's anything wrong with the tires, but they're just not matching up right for him right now.
Right.
Never see Ward Burton back on the racetrack after that drive shaft problem he had early in the race. And we see Jeff Gordon has just gone by him. Right in front of Jeff Gordon is Matt Kenseth, the third place car. And as you look at the scoring monitor now, Jeff Gordon is about the second, third fastest car on the racetrack. Tony Stewart, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jeff Gordon, and Ryan Newman right now seem to be the class of the field.
You're right, BP, which makes such a premium on the pit stops right now. I mean, everything is counting on these guys in the pits and put these guys in a good position once they get back on the racetrack. So pressure's on the crews right now.
You saw Mike Wallace on the infield track on that shot. Looks like his day is going to be done. That was a funny sound when Kenseth's car came by that camera, wasn't it? We'll keep an eye on him. He's running very well and up to speed. Running in third behind Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Ryan Newman right now. Caution is on the speedway in the Tropicana 400. 4th yellow of the day. Debris inside of turn 4. Down by the white line at the bottom of the racetrack. There it is.
Just a simple piece of aluminum, but guess what? One of those race cars run over that, they would certainly puncture a tire, and we've seen what happens to these cars when you puncture a tire. It's not pretty.
And the yellow's a big break because the leaders were going to have to start making green flag pit stops in another 7 to 8 laps. Tony Stewart, anyway, who's been the earliest to pit. So now they're going to get to do it under caution.
And this really evens things out because no cars, I don't think, can make it from here to the end. They'll have to make one more stop so it doesn't become a fuel mileage race.
Probably now is when you want your best set of tires, because probably if they come in that last time, BP, just fuel.
Fuel, maybe right size, but probably just fuel only.
Will anybody take 2 tires here and try and get in track position? No. Need the whole tank of fuel, might as well stay for all 4.
Take them all.
Dave Burns.
Alan, you mentioned right before the break a car sounding funny. It was Matt Kenseth. I confirmed with crew chief Robbie Reiser. He is running on 7 cylinders. They'll run it until it dies. 4 tires for him. Half a pound of pressure in the right rear increase to make him a little bit looser on this Chicagoland Speedway. Marty?
Dale Earnhardt Jr., the leader, is in. Dave, and he said it's handling like it was yesterday. That's bad news for the rest of the field because he was awesome in both practices yesterday. It'll be a 4-tire change and no chassis adjustments. In front of him at the head of pit road, Ryan Newman with a great stop going. 4 tires for Ryan Newman. He is a little bit tight. They do make an air pressure adjustment. And Dale Jr. is second off pit road. Matt Kenseth got off first.
The Golden Benny winners do it again.
Those guys are awesome, and Kenny Wallace has stalled on the backstretch.
I hope so. I don't know. It seems like that left rear might have
Believe
pushed
they
it
are
over.
waiting for the pace car. They didn't make their lap back up legally here coming to the caution. Matt Kenseth leads off pit road here at Chicagoland. Matt Kenseth is the leader. We are on the 4th caution of the Tropicana 400 after debris came off the car and fell on the racetrack in turn 4. A lap away from the restart. Let's go to pit road. Marty Snyder.
Well, and of course, Matt Kenseth drives a Ford, and even though this is NASCAR's 2nd year in Chicago, Ford has been enjoying success here in Chicago for almost 100 years, believe it or not. The marriage between Ford and the Windy City dates all the way back to 1913 when Ford decided to open its first plant outside the state of Michigan to build Model Ts. Today, the Chicago facility produces the Ford Taurus with an assembly line that's 23 miles long, 2,750 workers, can produce more than 66 Tauruses per hour. Now let's compare that to the Winston Cup version, which takes almost 600 hours to build one from the ground up and make it race ready. And Wally, I got to know from you, how long did it take to build your race Taurus? You take us around on the track every day in the pre-race, because it had to take many hours to build a race car for you to drive.
Yes, it does. And many hours to maintain after I get done with it.
I would say so, especially after you wreck it, right?
I think we've got the whole fleet of Tauruses in the Hertz group in Chicago rented out this weekend. Our NASCAR on NBC crew, 140 strong, bringing you coverage of the Tropicana 400.
Green flag, green flag.
That was a fun.
Look at Kurt Busch up on top.
All those guys crawling on that restart.
Slow coming up to speed down to the inside. And it's Matt Kenseth leading. Ricky Rudd is trying to get a lap back. Dale Earnhardt Jr. not going to be taking too long.
And he's on the inside of Kenseth for the lead. Junior back in front. Rusty Wallace is a lap down. He's on the inside of his teammate, Ryan Newman. Here comes Jeff Gordon trying to get by both of them.
And a follow-up from pit road on Matt Kenseth's car. The further review by the team, according to Dave Burns, not down a cylinder, but a cracked tailpipe causing the funny sound we're hearing.
It does make it sound strange, and it does rob it up a little bit of horsepower, but not much.
One in second. Gordon to 4th.
That's one thing when you're racing Rusty. It doesn't matter if he's a lap or 2 laps down. You got to run him hard.
And did you see Kurt Busch? He just flew by Jeff Gordon all of a sudden. Dave Blaney's going by the 24 car. Something wrong with Jeff's car, or is he just getting loose up in 3 and 4? He goes Harvick by the 29 car. But Busch Harvick in 5th spot.
Not so fast.
Marty, tell us, the 24 car. What's going on?
Well, Benny, we're going to check and find out, but all day long, in fact, Jeff Gordon is now on the radio, says we're fine, we're all clear. They've been starting out loose on runs, and they get tighter or actually better as they go along. So I don't think anything's wrong with Jeff Gordon just yet. He has said nothing on the radio, and actually he did say that they were fine, and now his spotter Ron Thiel says they're fine. So I think everything's okay with Jeff Gordon, just a little loose on the beginning part of the run.
Here's what happened to Jeff Gordon coming off of turn 4 a couple of laps ago.
What happens there? He's down on the low side and just got the car a little bit wiggly there. Just car got a little bit loose.
Trouble.
Elliott Sadler.
Woodrunner's car.
It is not going good. He's getting fired up, guys. He got plenty of time.
Caution's out.
Oh, and he put the air back in the left side tire, take that pound out the right rear, and please give me some scope, please.
Beg, Elliott. That's the way to get something done. Just beg. Get on your knees and beg.
I would say he didn't like that set of tires.
Fifth caution flag is out over the Tropicana 400. Elliott Sadler with a solo spin down the front stretch. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is the leader. Here's our Pepsi race recap. What's happened so far at Chicagoland? 75,000 on hand as Ryan Newman led the field to the green flag. Ward Burton the first to get in trouble at lap number 4 with a spin off turn 4. Tore his left front fender up, ruined his day. A lot of guys had trouble getting to pit road today. Michael Waltrip mowing the grass there, trying to get to the pit lane. Mark Martin ran out of gas, leading on an exchange of green flag stops. More trouble for Mike, last week's winner. Engine blown, he's out. Sterling Marlin penalized a lap for pitting over the line in his pit box. Then the most recent caution, it's Elliott Sadler looping around off turn 4. No damage, he has continued, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. has maintained the lead. But there's a little situation of brewing between those first 2 cars in your picture there on the screen. Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Ricky Rudd. Ricky is the first car a lap down. Coming to the caution flag, Dale Earnhardt Jr. did not give Ricky a lap back last time, which he is not obligated to do.
Okay, well, Ricky's obviously coming up to show his displeasure, I would think.
Well, I was told that the junior was weaving his car back and forth to try to get his tires cleaned off, and he might have made contact with Ricky Rudd and dinged the fender in. But we will see.
Why was Ricky up there? They didn't double up yet.
Don't know.
Monitoring the radio traffic between the 2 teams, BP. Ricky was upset that Dale Jr. didn't let him have a lap back there.
I got you.
Which, again, he's under no obligation to do.
Well, let's see. We got them side by side right now, so.
Whoa! Rusty Wallace going to make it 3 wide. Marty?
Well, that's what made that battle so interesting, because that's the report that was coming to Junior's pit, is that Ricky Rudd was upset with him because he didn't give his lap back. Now,
yeah, no out of bounds here. That was clearly discussed in the drivers' meeting this morning. But it's kind of a risky proposition, isn't it?
Obviously.
I'll tell you one thing, that was one, he drove that baby. That was one fantastic drive. He drove it for a mile, but it finally got away from him.
6th caution flag. Boy, that's down the backstretch.
I think Hutch Strickland's fender is rubbing the tire that's causing all that smoke.
And Jimmy Spencer, I think, caused a lot of it.
All right, let's go back and see what happened. Started off of turn 4, coming down the front stretch.
And here you got Harvick, takes a big run on Kurt Busch. Now he's down on the apron, but he tries to squeeze back up, hits Kurt Busch, and I mean drives this car forever, like you said, BP.
Wait, no, I don't think he hit Kurt Busch, but watch, it's when he makes the transition from the flat back onto the banking. I think that's when the car got upset, right there.
It got angry anyway.
Yep.
And here he goes. Now, you know he's not going to be able to handle it on the apron of the racetrack. The banking on the racetrack is only 18 degrees, so it's probably 6 degrees on the apron there, and he finally loops it. Meanwhile, behind, these guys start trying to avoid the accident and run into each other. Too bad for these fellas.
On board Elliott Sadler. That's Hutch Strickland just ahead of him. Okay, add him to the list of those involved.
I missed that.
Yeah, me too.
Bill?
It's 4 tires for Harvick. He said he just got down there, the air got taken off of him, and he tried to save it for as long as he could, and he finally did. They're going to pull some sheet metal away and send him back out. Alan?
Caution once again in the Tropicana 400 at Chicagoland. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is your race leader. Going to be an economy run, it looks like. Some guys just topped off the fuel tank as we got the one-to-go signal.
See, and I said it will not end up being a fuel economy race, but guess what? Some guys just made a pit stop. When the green waves, there'll be 66 laps to go. Somebody might be able to make it the rest of the way.
There won't be many of them,
no,
but there may be one.
Lead lap cars who stopped under the to top off there include Jeff Gordon, Jeff Green, Kevin Harvick, and is Elliott Sadler still on the lead lap? No, he's falling a lap down.
Watch Rusty here. He's going to want this lap back bad. So bad that he jumped it.
Look at Tony Stewart on the outside.
Now what?
Now what are we going to do?
A lot of guys complained last restart that it was way too slow. They came across the radio and said these restarts are way too slow. Something's going to happen.
Well, obviously the leader is supposed to come by the line first. He did not. Rusty Wallace did. We'll see what NASCAR's opinion is on this.
Well, there is a mark on the outside wall of the racetrack. That's the point that the restart is supposed to happen. Did Earnhardt Jr. hold him down till past that before he went, or how did that work? That's the judgment call.
Well, it doesn't look like it's going to take Earnhardt too long to get back by Rusty, but like I said, Rusty is a hard man to pass.
And it doesn't look to me like Rusty is going to be penalized for jumping the restart, which is a good thing.
The 14 car looked like he was up against the wall there coming out of turn 2.
That's Stacy Compton and A.J. Foyt's car.
And there you have it.
Rusty is back. 1 lap down.
Rusty dropped a cylinder that last lap. 2 lost the cylinder.
After losing the ignition box earlier in the day. Here's his teammate Ryan Newman, 2nd place car. Got Tony Stewart up to 3rd. Matt Kenseth to 4th. Bill Elliott 5th. The rest of the top 10 are Kurt Busch, Jimmy Johnson, Mark Martin, Dale Jarrett, and Kevin Harvick. Sterling Marlin, the silver car, the championship leader, 1 lap down after pitting over the line in his box earlier in the race and taking on fuel. That's a 1-lap penalty. He's back in 18th place.
It's Tony Stewart now. He's worked through all the slower traffic.
And Tony's, Rusty almost got the wall off turn 2. You know, okay, Rusty, I started to say that Rusty was running okay, but I see now that he is not up to speed. Tony Stewart has been fast all day long. Is he as fast as Dale Earnhardt? I don't know, but let me tell you so, folks, he got a terrific restart. Check him out as he comes off the corner. He lays back. They're all slow up front. When they go to the bottom, he nails it and goes to the top.
Which is legal.
Which is legal. You can pass on the right side. Just can't do it on the left side. And he goes by Busch and Kenseth both.
Tony Stewart has led 32 laps in this race. He was one of the stronger cars earlier. Since getting caught back in traffic, he hasn't been able to move through. And if you weren't with us earlier in our show, we talked about the fact that Joe Gibbs announcing this morning this team will switch to Chevrolets from Pontiacs next year. Greg Zipadelli, their crew chief, told me today that when they're caught in traffic, that is the weakness of the present Pontiac. Now that he's clear of traffic, let's see if he can run down the Chevy and the Ford of Earnhardt Jr. and Newman.
And I think Earnhardt needs clean air to be really, really fast as well. So if Ryan gets in front of Dale Jr., it'll be interesting to see if Dale Jr. can maintain the fast lap times he's doing right now. And Newman's putting some pressure on him.
A lot of pressure. As a matter of fact, last time by, Ryan Newman just a little bit faster than Dale Earnhardt. And Tony Stewart, a lot faster than both of them.
And Newman's got to make it, I think he's got to make it happen as quick as he can, only because the tires are as good as they're going to get right now. So here he's taking a look on the bottom. Earnhardt moved up the racetrack a little bit.
Trying to get that nose in there.
And now we'll see if Earnhardt Jr. can maintain now that he's got to run in Newman's dirty air. In the meantime, here comes Stewart.
Yep. Just that little bit of side-by-side racing. Let Tony try and close that gap.
And that's exactly what Tony wants to see, is those guys racing, because when they're racing, they're not as fast as a car that's going to be running by himself.
Last time Ryan Newman led this race was all the way back in lap 56. We're at 2:09 now.
That last lap, Tony Stewart was 0.4 of a second faster than both the two cars ahead of him, Ryan Newman, Dale Jr. So he made up a lot of ground right there in that one lap. Hey, Marty, what are they saying down there in the 20 pit?
This car, aerodynamically, Wally, is one of their best, actually. It started life as a backup car because it didn't run good. It had one of the worst bodies at Joe Gibbs Racing. So about a month ago, Greg Zipadelli picked it out of the back of the shop and told Scott Deal, the chief mechanic, let's start working on that car. They have been to the wind tunnel with this car. They have made the body much better. And now, by numbers from the wind tunnel, it is the best car that they have in their stables aerodynamically, and has proven that on the racetrack. He's able to catch cars much better than he has been in the last few months.
And now the key is, like we were talking earlier, if he can get by him once he catches him. There's a big difference, because if the car isn't really good behind another car, it's very, very difficult to keep the nose down to pull underneath the car to make the pass.
We talked about Tony Stewart being fast. Well, guess what? Right now, Ryan Newman out in front of that 12 Alltel car, he is faster than all of them. Last time by, he was 1/10 of a second faster than Tony Stewart and 0.15 of a second faster than Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Behind these three, it's another 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds now. Back to fourth place, Matt Kenseth, and fifth place, Kurt Busch. Ryan Newman leads, 56 laps to go in the Tropicana 400 at the Chicagoland Speedway.
And back here at the Chicagoland Speedway, Ryan Newman, the pole sitter, the rookie, the teammate of Rusty Wallace, leads after 218 laps. But hot in his tire tracks, Tony Stewart, looking for another victory in this 2002 season. This race far from over. Let's take you through to the field, beginning with the race leader, and here's Marty.
And that is Ryan Newman, as you say, Bill Weber. The car just a little bit tight, but they are very happy. They do have to stop one more time with about 5 or 10 to go and top off with the fuel. Remember, Ryan is from South Bend, Indiana. Lots of Ryan Newman friends and family in the stands today. He has never won a Winston Cup points race, but he did win the Winston in this car. Tony Stewart is behind him on the racetrack. A little bit tight for Stewart, but the best the car has been all day long. He has gotten Pontiac's only win at a track a mile or longer. Third behind him is Dale Earnhardt Jr. This is the tightest his car has been all day long. He described the setup to Dave Burns in our final practice show yesterday as radical, but it's been working except for right now. A little bit tight for Dale Jr. They too have to stop. They are facing gas only on that very last stop. Kurt Busch is behind him in fourth. What a remarkable drive he has had from the back of the field to the front today. He was happy with the car on the last run. They have made only one adjustment today. They took half a pound out of the left rear. They cannot go all the way on fuel. They do have to stop. Today, Burns.
Matt Kenseth's team talked a lot about coming in and ducking in before we went back to green, but they knew, according to crew chief Robbie Reiser, that they could not make it all the way on fuel. They were about 1 lap shy, so they decided to stay out, and they will have to pit again. As for the 48 car of Jimmy Johnson, they debated it as well. They came in on lap 183 for 4 tires and made no changes, so the car is very good, but they cannot go all the way on fuel. They will have to stop again.
And there goes Johnson past Matt Kenseth into 5th place, kicking Kenseth back to 6th. We continue going through the field. We go to Matt Yoakum.
Alan Bill Elliott currently rides in the 7th position. He was complaining earlier that his car was tight. They made an air pressure adjustment in both front tires, but he told Bill, Mike Ford, his crew chief, that the 9 car cannot make it. He says, we are not even close to Bill.
Mark Martin has had a wild day, ran out of gas, then made a long fuel run, got back on the lead lap. This race restarted after the most recent caution with 67 laps to go. Mark, earlier in this race, when he ran out of fuel, went 66 laps. That team didn't even think about coming in under the caution because they knew they would never make it. He stays out on the track, currently running 8th. Behind him is Kevin Harvick. Had trouble earlier in the race, was as high as 5th. That's when crew chief Gil Martin told me, no matter what happens, this is the kind of day we needed. Then Harvick got into a little bit of trouble. Here's what it sounded like.
Didn't hit nothing, I just went all around a bunch of times. Yeah, it looked fun. Cussing at myself the whole time. And I'll be back in about 20 laps. Just get out of the way.
The good news for Kevin Harvick fans, he did pit under that caution and was told we can go to the end under green. Marty.
Bill Del Jarrett is in the 10th position, and earlier he had that bad set of tires that just was not working for him, and while he was on that run, made very slight contact with the wall. Didn't cause much damage, but it did send DJ further back in the field. They have rallied very nicely. They are up in the 10th position. They have continued to fight a little bit of a tight condition all day long. Behind him, Jeff Gordon. We've talked and talked and talked about the 25 race winless streak Jeff Gordon is currently riding. They can go all the way on fuel. They pitted last time. Remember we showed you his car being loose earlier? That's why they didn't take tires, because he's better on the longer runs. Dave Burns.
Yesterday, Jeff Green saw Busch Series driver Johnny Sauter run a long way on fuel in his Richard Childress car. So they decided to pit before we went back to green, came in at the last minute, and they say, go all the way. They took on 4 tires, pumped it full of fuel, made no chassis adjustments. Matt?
Dave, the 5-car Terry Labonte currently rides in the 13th position. A 113 races of passes his last victory. Jim Long, as crew chief told me, we are very, very close to making it. We are about 1 lap and change short. If we get a caution, we will stay out, and then we can go the distance. Meanwhile, the 31 car, Robbie Gordon, trying for his second career win, runs in the 14th position. Robbie says the car is a little free, but coming to him. Robbie was complaining earlier that he thought he saw smoke inside the race car, but does not know what it was. He is trying to conserve fuel. They are going to roll the dice and go for it, Dave.
Bobby Hamilton also runs in the top 15. They took on 4 tires and made an air pressure adjustment, but will need 1 more stop. They were correcting a loose condition this time. They were correcting a tight condition earlier. They were starting making huge changes. Now they're making small changes. Bobby's very happy with the car. Marty?
And Dave, remember earlier in the day, Sterling Marlin, our NASCAR Winston Cup Series points leader, had the penalty for pitting outside of his pit box and servicing the car. That dropped him all the way back to 27th. He has now rallied back to 16th, but he is still 8 positions behind Mark Martin. Unless he can make up some serious ground and even a lap, Sterling Marlin is going to lose spots today to Mark Martin in the points. Alan?
All right, so there you go, how everyone on the lead lap plus the championship leader are running as we are down to 38 laps to go here at Chicagoland. Ryan Newman's advantage as you check the championship standings as they race now on the track. Lead coming into the race, by the way, is 77 between Martin and Marlin, so he'll cut it down some if they finish as they are now. The lead between Newman and Tony Stewart, 1.2 seconds, 37 laps to go. Can Stewart run him down? Who's going to have to stop for gas? A lot of drama building up here in Chicagoland.
Ryan's got into some traffic here right now, so it's all going to be about who can get through the traffic the best. And right now, Tony Stewart's doing a better job.
Talk about our Auto Trader move of the race. We're going to tip our cap to Tony Stewart for something we showed you just a little bit ago.
Hey, that move on that restart was impressive to me. When all those cars bogged down, he dived to the outside and passed Matt Kenseth and Kurt Busch from the start-finish line down to turn 1.
Closer and closer in that traffic.
Last time by, less than 0.6 of a second between first and second.
That's Casey Atwood. They're working their way around. And now look at this, 3rd place, Jimmy Johnson has come all the way up to catch Dale Earnhardt Jr.
And this is in a backup car. He crashed the first lap on the racetrack Friday morning, had to take a provisional start, his first of his career, and here he is trying to take over 3rd spot.
Yeah, he started in 37th place.
Did someone say he could make it the rest of the way, the 48 car?
Dave?
Alan, I'm just checking my notes for what Benny says. I believe the 48 is going to have to stop again. I believe they will have to stop one more time for fuel. And are they going to have to stop one more time? Yeah, they are going to have to stop one more time for fuel. And as far as Jimmy goes, when he qualified, his crew chief Chad Knaus said that he had the car just a little bit too aggressive on the front end, a little bit too soft, and it made the valence drag, and that's why Jimmy had such a slow time. The car is still very good and obviously is quick.
Look at this for the lead, turn 4.
Yeah, he's looking. He's working them hard.
Tony Stewart working over Ryan Newman. Newman's got problems.
Right front tire is flat.
Hang on, Ryan.
Tony Stewart to the lead with 28 laps to go.
Now, can Newman get off the racetrack and not the tire not come apart and put debris on the track?
Not at the speed he's running. It's not going to take long.
Oh!
Joe Nemechek. Caution is out.
Oh, man.
A race-changing or race-saving, in some guy's case, yellow flag is out.
Tony Stewart.
Joe looks like he's got a left front flat. He definitely has a left front flat.
We saw him make contact with the... Now can Ryan Newman get in, get the tire changed, and get back on the racetrack? Was the caution flag out when he entered, so he'll have to go to the end of the line because he pitted too soon?
2 rounds in, right rear.
Leader Tony Stewart has given him a big break because he's way off the pace on the backstretch.
Well, the pace car is sitting on the backstretch and did not pick him up. Marty.
Car couldn't catch him.
Wow, I didn't know if a gun was going off or what, but the tire blew right as he came to his pit stall. That's what I call time management. It lasted all the way here, and it was the right front tire. They will make a chassis adjustment. He was tight on that last run, and he did pit before everybody else. I do not believe pit road was open, so Ryan Newman has 4 fresh tires and a chassis adjustment.
But he did manage to stay on the lead lap. Tony Stewart was by the start-finish line, but he had not gotten to the cutoff point on pit road before Ryan Newman left, so he will be able to stay in the lead lap.
But pit road was not open because the pace car didn't lead the field by the opening to the pit lane.
You see Joe Nemechek, and I watched Joe earlier, and he had some problems earlier before that time. And I don't know if he had a tire going down, but this last time definitely left front tire went down. Let's see, watch Joe going down into turn 1 here, and you can see the car got real loose on him. Got up in the marbles. There again, the wall.
Left front is flat now. I don't know.
And I think that's what it was when he went down in there. So he had a left front flat tire.
Now, the situation with the pace car, Tony Stewart took the caution, but they couldn't get the pace car out in front of him in time.
Tony's playing with Buster. Buster Alton, the pace car driver.
So now that the pace car has gathered up the field, pit road is open. Now it's up to the crews. Track position going to be big here. Dave Burns, go ahead.
Alan, Jimmy's crew chief, asked him, how's your race car? He said, not too bad, little tight off. And then his crew chief said, are you willing to go for it? They put 2 rounds of wedge in the right rear. That's going to loosen him up a little bit and make him real fast. Marty?
Tony Stewart will come down pit road. He'll be on the top of your screen. Watch him because he won't be here long. Fuel only for Stewart. Love that set of tires. Love the way the chassis is handling. He is gone. Kurt Busch will win the race off pit road. Behind him on the bottom of your screen, Dale Earnhardt Jr. 4 tires for the Butt crew. They'll lose a lot of track position, but they do have the freshest rubber.
Yeah, but we saw yesterday in the NASCAR Busch Series race, those fresh tires weren't able to overcome that track position. Jeff Burton.
Well, but we've got a lot more laps, too. We've got 25 laps to go.
That's true.
Ryan Newman's on 4 tires, so this could get pretty interesting.
So I guess the first car that did not pit is who? Jeff Gordon? Kevin Harvick.
Kevin Harvick, yeah. Harvick, Gordon.
And he's got to go to the tail end longest line.
Right.
So they're taking their time, getting the windshield cleared off.
There's Kurt Busch out first.
Tony.
Long gap here. We'll see Mark Martin come into view.
Bill Elliott.
Mark and Jimmy Johnson. So those are the guys that stopped. Marty?
And Alan, Ryan Newman's tire sits behind the pit wall, still smoking. That's about as destroyed as I've seen a tire. This is the right front. You can see the outer casing right here. This is the inner liner. It, too, went down like a shotgun. They came back in the second time to make sure there was no chassis damage, and indeed there was none on Ryan Newman's car. So very fortunate. A lot of times when a tire goes, it will create a lot of damage inside the chassis and also to the sheet metal work, but that did not happen because the tire did not blow until he came down pit road.
3 drivers did not pit. Kevin Harvick, Jeff Gordon, and Robbie Gordon stayed on the track. Kurt Busch is the first one off of pit road. He'll line up 4th. Ryan Newman going to be in 15th place on the restart. Last car on the lead lap. 24 laps to go in the Tropicana 400 at Chicagoland. Down on Chicagoland Speedway from the U.S. Army Skycam, courtesy of the United States Army, an Army of one. It's the Tropicana 400 down into its final moments before 75,000 at a sold-out Chicagoland Speedway. Kevin Harvick has taken over the lead by not pitting under this late caution flag brought out when Joe Nemechek slapped the wall and spun. Had a flat tire. It caused him to slap the wall and spin up in turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, we've got a lot of different scenarios. Some guys on older tires, new tires, but the guys on new tires have to work through a lot of traffic.
Jeff Gordon was one of the teams, his team, that decided not to pit under this caution. Let's hear from his crew chief, Robbie Loomis.
Well, Robbie, this is what you wanted. The car's very good on long runs. You left the old tires on. You can make it all the way, but can he pass Kevin Harvick?
It's going to be really tough. It's really tough to pass, but I think he can. We just got to see what the DuPont Chevrolet does. These guys in the pits have done a great job all day long. Brian Weitzel been over here pushing away on the computer. It's going to be tight. Let's see what happens.
They can make it all the way on fuel, and he has been counseling Jeff on the radio. Try to get him on the restart. Remember, that's when you can pass him the easiest, and that's when Jeff Gordon will probably try to make his move on the restart. And Benny, you said in the pre-race the guy might finish the streak. It might be over. Jeff Gordon might finally win a race.
Well, really, truly, you feel so sorry today for Ryan Newman, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and Tony Stewart. 3 guys who have really been faster than most all the other cars, but they couldn't get quite as much fuel mileage.
It's been a while since Jeff Gordon has had a victory drought of this magnitude. You see, going all the way back to 1993 that he had no Winston Cup wins. Picked up his first win in the spring of the 94 season, and since then it's been pretty hard to keep him out of victory lane. Bill Weber, how about the leaders team?
Let's find out. Gil Martin is the new crew chief for Kevin Harvick. You said you could make it to the end. Can you?
I believe we can. These caution flags we're hoping to making gas for us. So every time they do the one to go right here, we're liking that. We're making fuel.
You told me when you were running 5th, this was going to be a great day no matter what happened. Now you're running 1st. Then of course, you had to spin in between there, buddy.
Well, it has been a great day for the Goodwrench car. These guys have done a great job in the pits. This has been a good week for us. We kind of stepped on ourselves in qualifying and got us in the hole that we've been in today, but the car's been excellent all day. Kevin's doing a great job, and let's keep our fingers crossed. I believe we can make it.
How hungry is he, Gil?
He's very hungry. I think you can see by the way he's been driving today. He's been doing a good job all day long. Everybody at home, forward, Rhonda, keep your fingers crossed.
Good luck.
Like Benny said earlier, he crashed for a mile, just didn't hit anything.
It's unbelievable what a great job he did trying to save the car. He finally did lose control down in turn 1, but he drove it for about a mile before he did. All right, the lights on the pace car are off. Hey, the pace car, the wrecker is on pit road.
Got to get Joe Nemechek, that car, removed from pit road before we can restart the race. That's why they extended the yellow period, and there's Joe out of the car and not looking any too happy about it. Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s team chose to take 4 tires under this caution. It's put him back in 11th spot for the restart. He's got a lot of work cut out for him because not only is he in 11th, that's just lead lap cars. All those guys to the inside that are a lap down, he's got to get through as well.
Okay, Alan, who's the first guy in that line that's got Rush's tires?
Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Dale Jr. is the first guy?
Yeah, all the rest of them either didn't stop or just stopped for fuel only.
Yep. Sterling Marlin, first one a lap down to the inside of leader Kevin Harvick. Harvick won this race 1 year ago. It's been pretty well documented. That team struggles throughout the first part of this season. It's been a remarkable day, as you heard Bill Weber and Gil Martin discuss earlier, no matter how this turns out, just to be in position for a shot at the win. But he's got 20 laps to go now as they come down. Watch Tony Stewart. He's laying back from Kurt Busch. Remember that great restart he got last time.
Harvick needs to get a really good start here. He wants to get in front of these cars again. It's jammed up, though. But see, Kevin got a great start right there, other than Jeff was right with him. So he's making some ground here.
And Kurt Busch has driven by Robbie Gordon on the outside to take over the 3rd spot. Here comes Jeff Gordon off turn 2. This is where he's going to try to take a look, I think. He couldn't get a run.
Harvick, Gordon, Kurt Busch, Robbie Gordon, Tony Stewart. Those are the top 5. Then Bill Elliott, Mark Martin, Jimmy Johnson, Dale Jarrett, and Jeff Green. Johnson has overtaken Mark Martin this last lap. He's up to 7th. progress for Dale Earnhardt Jr. In fact, he's lost a couple of positions in that shuffle on the break. He's back to 13th. I want to keep an eye on Ryan Newman, too.
Now, the problem is these guys are working around slower cars or cars that are lapped down. They can't run their line. You can't run your line, it's going to be a little bit slower. In the meantime, these guys are running where they want to run, and they're clicking off some pretty good laps. That time by, Kevin Harvick ran a 30.50, and you look back at where Earnhardt is, he ran a 31.48. So he's a second slower because of where he is on the racetrack and traffic.
With 4 fresh tires, those tires aren't doing him one bit of good.
Keep talking about track position. This is exactly what we mean by track position. You guys run older tires, but they're clean racetrack, and they're pulling away from the guys that have fresh tires.
And Jeff Gordon is not able to close up on Kevin Harvick. Harvick is maintaining that 2-3 car length advantage.
Close call back in traffic. Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Matt Kenseth bounced off each other. Everyone got away okay, and we stay under green. Here's Jeff Gordon. Let's go back and look at that close call I mentioned a minute ago between Matt Kenseth and Dale Earnhardt Jr. Watch this.
Oh, man. Jr. came off the corner with a terrific run, just did not want to back off the throttle, and went up and barely grazed the 17. But both cars continue on. That was close.
Enough to make the smoke fly.
Oh, yeah.
Mike Skinner on the outside probably had no idea that was happening underneath him either. All right, Wally, put yourself in that 29 car. You're driving Kevin Harvick's machine. Your thoughts, you're on these older tires. Your fuel's a little marginal. You got Jeff Gordon behind you.
First thing I did was flip the mirror up so I can't look in it. That's the worst thing you can do right now is look and worry about where the guys are behind you. So I'll guarantee you, Kevin is just concentrating on not making any mistakes and getting every bit out of his car he can right now.
This is Bill Elliott and Jimmy Johnson racing for 5th.
Jimmy Johnson's car has really come on here the last part of this race.
Well, it sure has. And Kevin Harvick in front of the field. I'm just impressed by the speed he's able to run. Last time by, almost 176 mile per hour average.
But Benny, it seems like today the guys that have been out front have been quicker. They may be a little bit slower if they're second, third spot, but it looks like once they get out front in that clean air, they're a little bit quicker.
3rd place, Tony Stewart taking it away from Kurt Busch.
I think this is the guy they've got to worry about.
Stewart?
Yeah.
13 laps to go, almost 3 seconds to make up.
Yeah, that's the problem. Long way to go, short time to get there.
Yeah.
He'd have to be, 0.3 of a second a lap faster, just about, to make up that gap. How about that for math?
I can't believe that. You worked all night on that, didn't you?
And we meant 3/10. We say 3/10.
3/10.
Yeah. That he was right.
Wow. I know we hate to give it to him.
I know.
Jeff Gordon slipping back off of Harvick's back bumper. If that 25 race winless streak's going to end today, BP, it's going to have to happen soon.
Yes. I don't think that Jeff Gordon's going to be able to catch him. I think that Harvick, as long as he keeps that thing going, these guys are not going to catch him. Tony Stewart is faster than both of them, but he's just too far back.
Ryan Newman's up to 8th, Dale Earnhardt Jr. to 10th. They're 6.5 and 7.5 seconds behind the leader, respectively.
And we can see Tony Stewart closing in, but it's only 100th of a second at a time.
And not clearing those lap cars is what probably cost him this race. And I mean, there's nothing you can do about it, but it takes time to get past those cars so you can run your line.
Well, it's like they talked about on that restart. Even though you're lined up 5th or 6th in that outside lane, you're actually 10th or 12th in reality on the racetrack.
Right. You've got to get down on the bottom of the racetrack.
The only concern I'm sure that Kevin Harvick and Jeff Gordon have right now, can they make it on fuel?
Jimmy Johnson has caught Kurt Busch for 4th.
The crew chiefs tell us they can make it. I'm sure they've told the drivers they can make it. But can they make it to Russell? Look at this 48 car go to the corner.
On the outside. Wow. That's strong, Brett. Really good run there.
Well, that answers any question with an exclamation point at the end of the day about the outside lane and how much better this track is going to get as it goes on. Kevin Harvick across the line. 8 laps to go, Bill Weber.
Alan, it's been an amazing run for Harvick. RCR moving their shop across the street, adding a third team with frustration level. I asked him yesterday, with all that going on, if he thought he could win today.
Hot up in the shop, and everybody's kind of settled down into their spots, and everything's communicating well, and everything's going real good. So we're just we're trying to just get ourselves and set our goals at top 15s, and then get ourselves in the top 10s and then the top 5s. And once you get yourself where you can run in the top 10 and the top 5 every week, the wins will come.
He talked about how last year his win here validated his earlier win at Atlanta. This week, Richard Childress Racing will hold an open house at their new shop in Welcome, North Carolina. It could also be a victory celebration party. We'll have to wait and see, you guys.
I'll tell you what, Jeff Gordon is trying. He is making such a late entry into the corner. It's unbelievable. Trying to keep that car from pushing in the corner. Watch how late he enters and tries to bring it down to the white line as he comes off turn 2.
For Kevin Harvick, 2002 has been a season of controversy, a season of struggles on the racetrack. His problems with NASCAR culminating at Martinsville earlier in the spring with a one-race suspension when he was sat out of this race car after an altercation in a NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race the day before. He was suspended for the Martinsville race. The team wasn't performing. Only 2 top 10 finishes this whole season. And through it all, the persistent questions about why. There's his wife Delana looking on. It's getting close to nerve time, isn't it?
This could be big for
not close to nerve time. It's past that.
It's past that. Yep.
Yeah.
This could be big for the entire team, not only for Kevin Harvick, but the entire Richard Childress organization.
A good weekend for him.
Yeah.
Johnny Sauter winning the Busch race yesterday.
Yeah, Richard Childress' teams as a whole have struggled this whole season. Yeah. And again, the constant questions why.
BP, I don't think he's got enough, the 24 car. He's running some great laps, but catching them and passing them is another thing, too.
He's running, Jeff Gordon, the 24 car, is running some great laps, but so is Kevin Harvick. He's running just as fast as Jeff and as fast as Tony Stewart. That time by, he ran faster than both of them.
Back behind the leaders as we continue to watch them. Ryan Newman just took 6th spot away from Bill Elliott. Dale Earnhardt Jr. Dale Jr. no farther forward than 10th, so it's going to come down to Harvick. Will the fuel hold up? Will he slip enough for Gordon to catch him and try and pass him?
Give me 10 more laps, just like it.
That was that's Bob Jeffrey, the spotter. You've heard his voice for many, many years. He's the spotter for Dale Jarrett. He's now spotted for Harvick and urging his driver on. Great corner, he said. Attaboy, keep it going.
They'll come to the... They'll come to the white flag this time. Kevin Harvick started well back in the field. 32nd place, he took the green flag.
Cupcake. I think the cat's out of the bag. We know his nickname now, BP. It's Cupcakes.
Harvick was on no one's lip as a pre-race favorite to win this thing. This is certainly a surprise.
He was on his list.
Yeah, that's true, Bill. We heard from him there a minute ago. But he's come from well deep in the field. The team has played their strategy perfectly. The fuel is going to hold up, and Kevin Harvick is going to come to the start-finish line and take the checkered flag. His 3rd Winston Cup win. He wins the Tropicana 400 for a 2nd straight year.
You guys are the crap, man. Way to go, guys. Awesome job. Great call.
6th place. Kurt Busch holds off Bill Elliott.
There are some happy, happy people.
These teams work long, hard hours preparing these race cars. Their shot at winning on a given Sunday, only 1 in 43. Victory does taste very, very sweet. Kevin Harvick is today's winner. Chevy congratulates Kevin and the number 29 Monte Carlo team. Kevin will tell you the only thing that comes close to Monte Carlo's reputation on the track is its reputation on the street. More champions depend on Chevy. We'll be there.
I feel a burnout coming.
You think? Dave Burns.
And standing by with Gil Martin now. Gil, right here with us. Okay, it's hard to find in the sea of people here. Gil, you said he was hungry. He came home pretty darn satisfied, wouldn't you say?
Oh my gosh, what a dream come true to win a race with this Goodrich car and all the history it has behind it at RCR. It's unbelievable. I mean, everybody's done such a great job in the pits today. Fuel mileage. I can't say enough about our engines, our fab shop, about everybody. About how, I don't know. It's been such a great day. I just don't even know what to say as I'm overcome.
All right, take a look
with us right there and make sure we had plenty of fuel. I know that.
That was great. Take a look at your boy's burnouts there. He's doing them now. That's Gil Martin, crew chief for Kevin.
Ran 67 laps on that last tank of fuel.
Well, there's nothing for your confidence in a win like that, especially after struggling this year like those guys have.
First Winston Cup win of 2002 for the Richard Childress organization. Kevin Harvick has done it today at Chicagoland in the Tropicana 400. He's out of gas.
Only one Winston Cup driver has won both races here. Kevin Harvick, you're supposed to be in victory lane. What happened?
We ran out of gas, man.
Imagine that.
That's timing it perfect, but we'll have to save the good donuts for next time. We got one good one in, but how about this GM Goodwrench team and Sonic, Sylvania, Coca-Cola, all the people that help us. Gil Martin made a heck of a call there at the end, and we kind of learned from Johnny Sauter. I want to send my congratulations to Johnny and all those guys yesterday. And
you learned what?
We learned that track position was everything, and today it was everything. And once we got out front, we knew we had a good car, and that's where we needed to stay.
Yesterday you talked about the frustration, the Martinsville incident, the change of crew chiefs, the shift in the shop, but you also said you felt you could win today. Why?
Well, I mean, things have been going good last few weeks, and just haven't had the real finishes to show for it. People in the garage have seen it. I mean, we've seen it. Richard Childress had a lot of faith in me. Fans had a lot of faith in all of us, and you know, I don't know where the rest of them finished, but it was a good day for RCR, good weekend for RCR, and I just can't wait to go celebrate this one.
Low on fuel with Gordon behind you. Were both those factors in your head?
Well, when we were in the middle of the pack there, they kept preaching at me. You don't have to beat the guys in front of you. We know you can beat them, save gas, and Jeff Gordon, the biggest worry I had was on the restart because he's really good on the restarts and he's won a lot of races that way, but we held him off and I just can't stand it, man. Where's victory lane?
Yeah, it's up this way. You know where it is.
Go.
Congratulations. Matt.
Well, Tony Stewart, what a difference a year make. Last year, 33rd. You spent extra time here in Chicago. Today, you almost won the race.
Yeah, last year I had to go to the hospital because I had a concussion, but I think we had the best race car today. We just had that extra pit stop we had to make. We had a fuel pickup problem or something. I could tell halfway through a fuel run when the fuel pressure was going down. So, these guys, that's probably the best race car I've ever had, or second best car for sure. So everybody, Joe Gibbs Racing, you guys deserve a big pat on the back this week. The motor was strong and the car was really strong too.
Just like Willie Mays, Tony Stewart's going to play too. He's on his way to Kokomo, Indiana for a midget car race tonight. Marty?
Well, Matt, Jeff Gordon finished second. I tell you what, you played the strategy right. You had the fuel mileage down, and they had a second groove here, but you still couldn't get around Kevin Harvick, even when you got to his bumper.
Yeah, there wasn't much of a second groove, but yeah, it's long. My groove was on the bottom. My car worked so good on the bottom, and in clean air, we were as good as anybody. But I got a good restart, got up on him, and went into 3, and the car just got such a push behind him that I just couldn't hang with him. I think our cars are pretty equal, but he drove a great race. He drove the line he needed to run, and guys on the DuPont Chevrolet did a great job in the pits all day. Great call there. It's risky, to go the back, but fuel mileage. Or just kind of coming in early, making sure you can get there to the end on fuel. Race yesterday, worked again today, and we're happy to come home second.
And the risky move paid off with that second place finish. Alan?
All right, Marty, thanks. Let's check the finishing order now from today's Tropicana 400. Kevin Harvick's third career Winston Cup win.
Jimmy Johnson continues his great 2002. Ryan Newman, a pole sitter, back in 5th spot.
Nice recovery from that flat tire he had late.
Yes.
Kurt Busch and Johnson from the back up into the top 10.
Mark Martin, second in points, finishes 9th.
Terry Labonte, another solid run, not spectacular, but solid. Lead lap.
Sterling Marlin, the points leader. We see him there in 16th position. Kyle Petty, 1 lap down. Rusty Wallace stayed out there, finished 1 lap down with a bum cylinder for 100 laps.
And some of the guys who failed to finish the Tropicana 400. Joe Nemechek went out late, showed you that. Hut Strickland, some accident damage. Jerry Nadeau had a steering box failure. Michael Waltrip and Stuart Kirby out with engine failures in the mid part of the race. Well, Kevin Harvick is celebrating in victory lane now, but I'll tell you, for a little while we didn't think he was going to be there. He took an absolutely wild ride down through the tri-oval and up through turns 1 and 2 at lap number 198. Not sure how he kept from crashing this one.
That may be up for your award, BP.
You know what? Kevin Harvick is going to get the Golden Vinny Award next week.
There you go.
He is the man. How he did that, I'll never know.
Ride him, cowboy. Fought it, and finally got away from him, but by that point he was out of harm's way. Cranked it around the other way, came back on around. Team played a little pit strategy, got him up front, and he did the rest from there. Great job today for Richard Childress Racing and Kevin Harvick as they've won the second running of the Tropicana 400. A lot of lead changes today. 11 leaders, 19 lead changes, 7 caution flags. Little drama at the finish with the championship, too.
Mark Martin eases a little bit closer to Sterling Marlin. Tony Stewart, 5th spot, only 157 back. Rusty moves back to 6th.
And on we go to New Hampshire next weekend. Next weekend, NASCAR Busch Series racing presented by AT&T Wireless will lead us off from St. Louis at 8 Eastern Time Saturday night on TNT. Wally and I will be there for that one. Then we'll see you Sunday with the New England 300 presented by Stacker 2, that on TNT.